my name is Joe Dupay. I'm the head football coach here at Southern Virginia University. Fired up for today's contest. Let's get ready and go Knights. We've been really excited to be here. When we first found out about Southern Virginia and the opportunity to come here, Monica and I just took a look at the university, looked at the surrounding area, the community, and had an opportunity to fly out. And when we got here, we just realized we were fortunate to come to a very special place and get we were able to get a really good feel, talking to President Wilcox and meeting so many people on campus. And it didn't take very long to realize that this is a special university and we have a special opportunity to come and really pioneer a program where we haven't had success here as a football program. And we see this as an opportunity to start traditions and to start a tradition of winning football. And while doing that, changing lives and being a major role in just young men's lives, moving from adulthood to becoming men, fathers, and legitimate helpers in the community. And so we jumped in and having this opportunity, we're really, really excited about it. And fortunately, I was able to attract some really good coaches. We have great coaches. Coach D is my brother. He's the assistant head football coach and coaches the running backs, does a phenomenal job. We're very fortunate to get him. Coach Ed Mulitalo played 10 years in the NFL. He's coaching our defensive line, just a phenomenal football coach. Coach Ryan, our defensive coordinator. The defense has been stellar all season, just doing a really good job, and credit him and the defensive staff for that, along with our players. But to get him from Snow College was a huge get. Having Coach Mike Rigel join us as our special teams coordinator, former player at BYU. He's just a great man, and to bring his knowledge and wisdom to our staff was huge. Offensively, we retained Coach Matt Edwards, the grandson of Lavelle Edwards. Certainly football runs in his family. So to have him as part of our staff as well as our recruiting coordinator, he was here last year, he has a better idea, especially in March when I got hired, of what we really needed. And so he's done a great job with our wide receivers. Patrick Hoffman with our B-backs, phenomenal football coach out of Salt Lake City. Toniu Finoti also played in the NFL, and he's our offensive line coach. So you see these big old Polynesian coaches that I'd love to put pads on, put them in the field or in the game and on the field sometimes, but just really good men that are really good coaches. And it's been fun to kind of just be with these guys and get out there and coach them up. The only other guy that I'm leaving out is Coach Groff. He's here helping us out, and Coach Steve O'Grady. Steve is actually a player coach. He's a young man that is going to school right now at Southern Virginia, and he wants to be a football coach, and he's a great asset to our program. So it's been fun because football's not about just coaching football. It's about being part of a family, being part of a team, and right now we have a lot of great chemistry within our staff, and I think the players can see that, and I think that adds to the family and the unity for our overall team. So, fortunately, we were able to get started, 1-0, and we were able to win our first game, and then we started conference. This is one heck of a really good conference. I'll tell you what, we knew that coming in. We knew it was going to be an uphill fight, and we knew that our first 3 conference games were going to be against 3 of the top teams in the conference, and those games were great stepping stones for us and learning opportunities for us. And not stepping stones as in we won those games, but stepping stones as in we got better each and every game. The scoreboard might not reflect it, but if you get in and look at the film and see exactly what happened and where we're improving and where our players are, their belief level is increasing and their skill level is increasing, and they're learning to master the mundane of the fundamentals that they have to do at their key positions, you can see that we're getting better. Now, the tricky part is we're also playing against really good football teams, and we got beat up a little bit. And so through the course of the season, without having any buys throughout our regular season, guys have to step up. And so some of those guys that have been key players and key role players for us, we might not have on a week-to-week basis. And so guys get the opportunity to step up. But it's been fun for me to see how our team's progressed. To start a tradition, it starts with culture, it starts with belief, it starts with team unity, it starts with just the buy-in of what we're doing, the work ethic, the integrity, becoming men. There's so much that goes into football besides just the scoreboard. Everybody else sees the scoreboard, but for a football program, it starts with culture. And so it's been fun to watch and see that actually improve week by week. And the law of attraction is real. People want to be part of something good. Good people want to be part of great things. Where someone that might not fit in with what we're teaching and preaching, they'll end up going somewhere else, which I'm totally fine with. And so that's been good to see as well. This week, we have a great opportunity, and we're really excited about the game. But this previous Saturday, before I go there, I just want to emphasize that Saturday was our most complete game against a 5-1 football team. We were still in the contest in the fourth quarter. It was 17-7 was the final score. We gave up one big play for a touchdown, and we gave them the ball on our own 19-yard line, and they scored a touchdown. And that was the 14 points that they scored. You take that away, on the flip side, offensively, we marched down. We had a 15-play drive that was 89 yards long, ended in a touchdown, and we took 7.5 minutes off the scoreboard. Those are the drives we want to have. That's what we're trying to do with our system, is control the ball game. And so there were so many things that we saw last Saturday that I really appreciated our guys, because they're continuing to buy in and they're learning each and every week. But overall, offense, defense, special teams, just to have that complete game where it was the best I felt after a game with our guys doing things the way they're supposed to, the way that I envision it. Certainly we're not there yet. It's a grind, it's a work in progress. It's a little bit like watering the bamboo. There's the bamboo that you have to water for 4 years before it ever comes out of the soil, and then it grows 90 feet in 60 days. Well, we're still watering the bamboo. We're literally still just teaching and learning and growing, but it's not gonna take 4 years. But our guys are growing and they're getting better each week. So I'm really excited for this week's contest. So some of the biggest things offensively that we need to do, and we're doing better at, is we need to eliminate all negative plays. Okay, a -2 yard play, a -5 yard play, a penalty. Any negative plays really set back an offense, and it's really hard to overcome offensively. And so for us to be able to move the ball down the field, move the chains, get first downs. In our previous contest, we had more first downs than our opponent. That's the first time that's happened this season. And for us, it's about hitting milestones. So that was a big deal. We need to eliminate bad plays and just do our job and execute what we do on offense. When we do that, it's really still about us. It's not so much about what the opponent is doing against us. It's about us doing our job and doing our assignment soundly. And when we do that, good things happen. And that's what we're focused on, is just becoming better at those fundamentals. Other keys for us to actually win come Saturday are we need to win the turnover battle. We need turnovers from our defense, and offensively, we cannot give the ball away. We need to win the turnover battle. Number 2, we need to win the special teams wars. We need to win all those hitting yards. When we punt the ball, we need to pin them deep in their own territory. And then we got to get it right back and move the ball a little bit more. But there's hundreds of yards of hitting yards throughout a football game. We need to win those battles internally so that the hitting yards are in our favor. That'll be very significant. And third, we just need to come out and play smart football. Play assignment sound football, do our job, come off the ball with great execution, play with confidence. If we do those things, I think we'll like the scoreboard at the end of the game. And I tell the guys each and every week, the scoreboard's a lie. Don't look at the scoreboard. The scoreboard's a lie. I don't care about the scoreboard. It just tells a story at the end of the game. You need to go and you need to do your job. Just focus on your job and get better at your job, play after play after play. First down, that guy might beat you. Second down, he better not beat you at the same thing. You need to learn fast and grow quickly and get better at doing what you're supposed to do so we can actually get better as an offense or a defense or a special team. So that's kind of where we're at, and that's our kind of our mantra going into this week's game, and I'm excited to see our guys get after it. William Paterson is a very good football team, very well coached. When you look at their schedule and look at the games they've won and the games they've lost, you can't really look at it and say, okay, they beat this team, so we're going to do this against them, or they lost to this team, so man, we're going to have a great day against them, because our conference is so competitive. This is a team that's coming in that's a little bit of a wounded animal right now. They lost last Saturday. They don't like that feeling, just like we don't like that feeling. They're coming to our place. It's a whiteout. It's homecoming. They know that. Their energy is going to be up. They want to get that win back, just like we want to go win the football game. They're well coached. So I expect it to be a battle. Honestly, I expect it to be a battle from the first opening kickoff till the end of the game. I know that there's things that we can exploit, and I'm sure they probably feel the same way. But I know that if we come out and execute and play the way that we can play, I think that we'll like the scoreboard at the end of the day. But it only happens if we prepare, continue to do things the right way, mentally and then physically come out and play football Saturday. Yeah, as far as the future and what the future holds, our number one motive is to get better each and every rep. And so sure, there's 4 games left, win them out, we can go 500, people are talking about that. For us, what we want to do that we haven't done this year is we want to win 1/2 of a football game against a conference opponent. And then we want to win a game against a conference opponent. So we'll go in that order. We've won a quarter, now let's go win a half, and then let's go win a game. And then once we win that game, we can focus on winning the next game. Right now, you see our guys all week long, they've been walking around campus, and every time they see each other, they're high-fiving each other, and as they high-five each other, it's, hey, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Our only mission right now is to go 1-0 this week. Everything else will fall into place. We go 1-0 this week, and then we'll come back, and after the dust settles Monday morning, we'll go back to work and focus on the next week. But right now, it's all about the now, the current, present time, and let's go 1-0.
Welcome, everyone, to the fields at Southern Virginia University. Jim Bresnahan, Art Furler getting ready to bring you Southern Virginia University football here today from the fields at Southern Virginia University as the Knights get ready to host William Paterson, Art, in the homecoming game.
Yeah, very exciting. Lots of spirits up today. There's been a lot of homecoming festivities that have gone already on campus, some other athletic events, but culminating in this event against William Paterson, I think this will be a well-matched team today. The Knights looking for a win.
William Paterson 1-4 in the New Jersey Athletic Conference, 2-4 overall in the season, facing a Knights team that is 0-5 in the conference, 1-5 overall, coming off a tough 17-7 loss to Rowan last week. And that was a heck of an effort by the Knights, especially in the second half, defensively throughout the contest, and especially in the second half with the offense really picking it up. And if not for a few personal foul penalties, who knows how that game might have turned out last Saturday in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, a few penalties, a few key turnovers just at bad times. But as Coach Dupay said in the video leading into this, it was the most complete game the Knights have had all season. The offense really started clicking. Starting to be able to move the ball a little bit better. Defense has been solid all year, so they're certainly trending in a good direction. And so I think it's a good time for the Knights to really step up. William Paterson, a good team for sure, but they do have some weaknesses. They were exposed against Salisbury last week, who runs the same style of offense that the Knights do, so it gives them some good experience, see what they might expect this week.
William Paterson won on this field 2 years ago. Last year, the Knights only lost at William Paterson 31-27, and Coach Dupay also told us, not only in that video earlier today, Art, but also told us yesterday that some of the keys last week against Rowan, pretty much the keys here today. Control the clock, control the ball, run the clock out, and keep William Paterson's offense off the field. Avoid negative plays like penalties, I guess, and certainly avoid turnovers.
Yeah, like you said, it's the same thing day in, day out for them. They said the same thing Coach Dupay did in the video as well. It's we need to go out and do our job, and we'll worry about we'll handle what they do when that time comes. But one thing that I loved he said yesterday stuck out to me. Is he said the main thing is the main thing, and that's us. It's not the officials, it's not the other team, it's us. We control what we do our job, and we'll be happy with what the scoreboard says at the end of the game.
And the Knights will kick off to get this homecoming game underway. Knights hoping to get that New Jersey Athletic Conference victory, their second in school history and their first here in 2016. Short kickoff by Sam Horman, hits near the 20-yard line, brought back by the Pioneers of William Paterson. Good coverage by the Knights to limit the gain, and it's going to be around the 18-yard line as Malcolm Robinson, a wide receiver for William Paterson, brought that ball back, Art, but outstanding coverage downfield by the Knights special teams.
Yeah, that short kick actually really helped out. It was high. It gave the Knights time to get down there, and you love to see that where everyone on kickoff, the most important thing is you have an assignment. You stay in your lane. Nothing breaks big past you, and eventually the ball will go down, and that's exactly what happened. No one got too excited, just did their job. Exactly what Coach DePay talked about.
Starting quarterback will be Isaiah Diaz-Mays. He likes to run the football. He's already run 46 times this season from the quarterback position. They go left side, though, to the running back, and that's going to be a pickup of about 4 yards before the Knights swarm the ball carrier.
Yeah, it was a good carry there around the outside. Akil Daniels Lundy. But, man, that's, again, assignment-based football. You could see as soon as they started tracking that direction, the defense just slid that way, followed them, and then eventually ran them down.
Yeah, Orem was there along about 3 other Knights. Pickup of about 4, almost 5, so it's second down. We'll call it 5 to go for the Pioneers around their 23-yard line. Quarterback from the shotgun. Handoff to Lundy again. Daniels Lundy going ahead. He's across the 25 up to around the 27. And so now it's going to be a short play coming up here on third down for William Paterson. Right off the bat, a big defensive stand here necessary for the Knights.
Yeah, the Knights' defense is really – it takes them a few plays, sometimes a drive to warm up and really kind of get hungry. We'd love to see him get a stop here, but at the end of the day, if you can start slowing their progress, start figuring them out, really that first part of the game is just feeling out the other team and see what they're going to throw at you.
Third down, 2 to go. Daniels Lundy has run it the first 2 times on this series. He'll get the carry again, and the Knights stop him, but not before he gets up across the 28 to the 29.
Yeah, big wrap-up that time by Ty Clegg, the freshman out of Utah. But as you said, they only needed 2, and they were able to get it.
Up to the 30-yard line. So William Paterson has a first down at its own 30. That was something else that Coach DePay told us yesterday, Art. Field position, try to win the battle of field position. And to do that, you got to make those stops on third down.
Yep, very true. I think we're going to see a lot of running today. You can't really tell from the shot there, but it is a very, very windy day out, about 20-mile-an-hour winds here at the fields.
Windy and semi-cold out there as Diaz-Mays wants to throw right side, and he throws out of bounds. Coverage there by the Knights by Joshua Christopher as they went for Malcolm Robinson down the right sideline, but that pass well overthrown and out of bounds.
Yeah, it looked like the receiver there looking at the referee like, where's the call? But when the ball lands 10 yards out of bounds, not going to get that if it's not catchable anyway.
Yeah, and actually pretty good coverage. Christopher right on him.
Yep, step for step, looked back at the right time, tracked him. Very well done by the secondary.
So the Pioneers on the opening series ran the ball 3 times, and then on 1st and 10 at the 30, they throw incomplete, 2nd and 10 now.
Good adjustment by the Knights, noticing that twins right at the bottom of your, or at the left of your screen.
Here is Daniels Lundy again, circling. He's got a running room. He's to the 40. He's got a first down, 45, 50, down the sidelines. He's going to pick up excellent gain there, almost 30 yards, near the Knights' 40-yard line.
Yeah, it's eliminating those big plays is the key to this game as well. The Knights can do really well holding on defensively. You know, they can allow these short plays and every once in a while get a loss to stop and force a punt. But when you allow those big plays every once in a while, it makes it a lot more difficult.
31-yard pickup from the 30 all the way down to the Knights' 39-yard line.
Yeah, William Paterson coming out very aggressive. The Knights are going to have to adjust to that.
Knights trying to make a stand here in this opening series for the Pioneers. Lawrence is the running back. He gets the carry, bounces outside. Good gain. He's got another first down. He's inside the Knights' 29, close to the 28.
Yeah, really the Knights have not been as strong defensively as we've seen them a lot this season. Like I said, sometimes it takes them a down or 2 or 3 to really figure things out and start coming down on the offense, but really have not been doing that yet today. Hopefully they can buckle down here.
Knights shut down Rowan last week in that 17-7 loss, shut them down defensively with the defense, whereas William Paterson got routed, gave up 77 points to Salisbury. 1st and 10, 28-yard line. New quarterback in there.
There it
Lawrence
is.
gets the carry, and the Knights shut him down up the middle for maybe a gain of no more than a half yard.
Yeah, solid defensive play up the middle that time. The Knights saw where he was going, closed that gap. That's Stuart Atonu filling that gap along with Joel Bergman.
Gain of maybe a half yard. We'll call it second down, 9 to go. William Paterson huddles without the receivers in the huddle. Interesting. Diaz-Mays has both Lawrence and Daniels Lundy, the running backs, alongside. Let's see if he throws here on second down, about 9 to go. Diaz-Mays wants to throw. He's flushed from the pocket. He can run, and he's going to run. 25-yard line. Good fake to get to inside the 20 down to the 19-yard line as he was able to put a move on the Knights defender and slide around him for a couple of extra yards.
Yeah, it was a huge push up the middle that time. You could see the entire defensive line pushing through, really applying pressure, forcing him out of the pocket. And it's so difficult when he slides out there since he is a run threat as well. And when you're back there in the secondary, you don't want to come up for the tackle and let your man free, especially until he crosses the line. He can still air it out. So great job making him choose one way or the other. But still, we don't give enough credit to this defensive line. In that case, Mahe and Aitonu just coming through the middle.
He got it down to the 19, so it's third and short, 3rd and 1. Here's Daniels Lundy. Little stutter step got him the first down. He's inside the 15, down close to the 13-yard line. Neil Davis, who was the New Jersey Athletic Conference Player of the Week, Defensive Player of the Week, amongst the others, making the tackle there. Davis really just had a tremendous game last Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a few key players that just keep stepping up day in, day out, and really kind of lead this defense, especially as a unit. You need someone that's going to be that voice in the huddle, that's going to step up and make a big play and kind of inspire the other guys. Luckily, on the defensive side of the football, the Knights have a handful of those.
And the ball's at the 12 now. 1st and 10. Receivers spread out, 3 to the left, 2 to the right, man in motion. And the quarterback, Diaz-Mays, takes it and works his way inside the 10, close to the 8.
Yeah, some really interesting looks from William Paterson so far. You can tell they respect the Knights defense enough that they're trying in that scenario. You put 5 receivers out there because you want to empty out that center, empty out the box. You've had a lot of linebackers coming through, doing a lot of damage in previous weeks, and so they want to pull them out as much as possible if they're going to run up the gut.
Essentially going with a quarterback draw there. Got it down to the 8-yard line. 2nd down, 6 to go. Daniels Lundy is alongside the quarterback, Diaz-Mays. And it'll be Daniels Lundy trying to get away from a tackler. He can. He's hit in the backfield for a loss. Back around the 11.
Yeah, so many different looks coming out today, but the Knights not falling for it. Bergman again, that's why he's a captain on this team, stepping in there at the beginning. Great job just blowing that play up, slowing it down, waiting for help, and a big stop when the Knights need it.
Yeah, J.J. Mahe also right there. Now it's 3rd down. Ball's back at the 11-yard line. Could be 4-down territory for William Paterson, depending on their field goal kicker, and if they even want to bother with a field goal, depending on what they do here on 3rd down.
Yeah, the Knights, if nothing else, would love to put them in a situation where they have to make that decision. They're not there right now, so we'll 3rd and 6 is a good stretch. The Knights would love to buckle down here in the red zone and see what they can come up with.
William Paterson's already chewed up 6 minutes off the clock on this opening drive. And the quarterback turns, hands the football off to the left side, and the Knights are able to shut him down at the 8-yard line as Kasim Henry made the carry.
Yeah, that little delayed handoff, not fooling anybody. The Knights, again, sniff it out, keep their eyes up, keep their eyes on the man with the ball, and not being deterred.
And it looks like it's going to be about a 25-yard field goal attempt by the place kicker, Pat Moran. He's a senior from New Jersey. They'll set it down around the 15-yard line for about a 25-yard attempt. William Paterson trying to get 3 on their opening series. Kick is short, but it got through.
Low but in.
Low but over, and it's 3-0 William Paterson. So I'm sure the Pioneers are pleased to score on their opening series, but the Knights were able to shut them down, keep them out of the end zone, and Now the Knights offense will get to work.
Yeah, the way that drive looked, I think the Knights have got to feel relieved a little bit that they weren't able to get it in the end zone, feel some confidence going into the next drive to know that things started off a little rocky. They allowed that 30-yard play, but they were able to stop them in the red zone at least and force a field goal. But lest we forget, the Knights in the first quarter defensively have done really well this season. Held Rowan, I believe, scoreless last week in the first quarter. They held Wesley not as well in the first quarter, but they did hold Salisbury to 0 in the first quarter as well. So we'll have to see how this translates to the rest of the quarter and then throughout the rest of the game.
And we also want to tell you about the new launch of the Southern Virginia University new official gear website at gear.svu.edu. Newest and best source for all official Southern Virginia University gear. All orders are shipped within 24 hours guaranteed, and you can look for a number of products there, including casual wear, tailgating equipment, office supplies, hunting, infant clothing, you name it, they've got it. It's gear.svu.edu.
Yeah, hunting equipment and infant equipment. I don't think they have any hunting infant equipment. Let's hope not. But, you know, they say you want it, we got it. You never know.
You name it, we got it. Well, here we go, the kickoff by William Paterson.
Special teams has been a real bright spot for the Knights so far this season as well. You'd love to see him break a big play, get good starting field position, and set the offense up for success on this first drive.
A lot of guys like John Harris and Caden Knight have been doing a good job. That's been a short kickoff, though, and it's returned by the Knights from the 20 all the way out to almost the 39-yard line. Good return by the Knights, and they're going to give the offense pretty good field position to start this drive as Seth Hansen got it all the way out to almost the 40-yard line.
Yeah, Marcos Garcia, linebacker out of Pleasant Grove, Utah, ends up being the one catching that one. Well fielded. When it's short and it's end over end like that, as an up man, you're not used to catching that. But he fielded it well, got upfield quickly, and gave the Knights great position.
And Ty Jones under center from the 39-yard line. Pitches to Harris.
Room.
Harris gets good block downfield and gets all the way to the 48-yard line. Outstanding blocking by the receiver out there, Michael Carroll.
Yeah, Michael Carroll's role has really adjusted over the last few years of this program. A few years ago, he was kind of the premier receiving tight end.
Still remember that outstanding game he had against Guilford at the Salem Stadium.
Yeah, he's had some big plays and some big games for the Knights, certainly, and his role is no less important now in this offense as a blocking receiver, and he just showcases that on that play, bringing up 2nd and 1.
So Harris picked up 9 yards. Fry is now the tailback in there. He'll get the carry, get across the 50 to the 49 of William Paterson. First down Knights, 49-yard line of the Pioneers.
Yep, staying on schedule, just moving the ball, moving the chains, getting first downs, and as Coach DuPay put it, just doing their job.
And he has really stressed here recently about the need, again, to avoid turnovers. And even if you don't score, trying to change the field position battle a little bit and gain some advantages there.
Yeah, reversing the field is a term that he used a lot, winning that possession battle.
Pitch. It goes to the right side, and that'll be Solovey getting a couple of yards. Malachi Solovey picking up maybe 2 on that carry. Of course, he had the touchdown and carry last week against Rowan.
Yeah, when we were talking with Coach DuPay yesterday, he had a lot of good things to say about Malachi as well. You know, the Knights have kind of run the running back position by committee based on not so much who's got the hot hand or I guess the hot legs in this situation, but
health, that sort of thing.
Yeah, rotating everybody that's healthy through, and so lots of guys needing to step up, and Malachi has certainly done that.
Second down, and Jones looks like he wants to throw. He fires on the run, incomplete, and he left that a little short. He was trying out there for Harris, but he had drawn double coverage, and that was a tough throw for Jones, who's a right-handed quarterback, running to his left, stopping and making a throw, especially when the receiver's double covered.
Yeah, and I think he may have waited just a hair long on that. Harris was open 2 or 3 steps before that, but I think he may have betrayed himself a little bit rolling out, and his eyes got excited. He saw an open man, but didn't release it. You're right, because that cross-body throw, it gave the defense enough time to adjust.
Third down 9. Jones has time. Fires, incomplete. Would have been a first down. Tough catch to make on the sidelines, as it was an outstanding effort that time by Brian Lorenzen. And Jones put it where only Lorenzen could get to it. He just could not end up grabbing it, and so now it's 4th down and 9.
Yeah, and you have to wonder if, there haven't been a lot of passes thrown so far this season. Ty Jones is certainly getting a stronger arm week to week and more comfortable in that system. But you have to wonder if maybe that previous play where it was almost an interception concerned him a little too much. So you certainly want to put it where only your man can get it there, but maybe just a little too much on it.
So now it's 4th down, and Hansen's in to punt. Hoping for a good punt here. Maybe trying to pin the Pioneers deep. Takes a nice bounce, but it rolls into the end zone. So close.
Yeah, it was a beautiful kick right to the corner, not returnable, and you could see the kicking team trying to get down there and preventing it from going in the end zone. But
hoping it would bounce to the right, not straight ahead.
Yeah, or even straight up a little back.
Yeah.
Lots of options there, but couldn't get the one they wanted. But it was a great job by their return man, Fernandez there, just say, I'm perfectly good with just letting this one roll into the end zone. Smart decision.
So the Pioneers take over at their 20. They got a field goal on their first series. Let's see how the Knights defense plays them on the second series of the football game.
Yeah, not a bad first drive for the offense. They obviously the farther they can work down, the better. But the offense for the Knights gets better throughout the game traditionally.
There's that draw again by the quarterback, Diaz-Mays, empty backfield. That time the Knights were ready for him.
Yeah, Coach Dupay talked about that in the video in pregame as well, where he said, look, if a guy beats you with a play, that's fine. If he beats you with that play again, then shame on you. And that time the Knights sniffing out that draw, not getting beaten by it, and actually stopping right at the line of scrimmage.
And you'll notice, I guess, the receiver in motion who flashes right by. Maybe one of these times he'll actually get the ball as opposed to the quarterback keeping it.
Very possibly. It's all about showing the same look, trying to bait the defense into something, and then changing it up at the last minute. 2nd
down 11. Diaz-Mays wants to throw. Wings it. Got a man open, and the juggling catch is made at the 38-yard line by Maldonado.
Yeah, impressive catch that time. You could tell Christian actually had that catch, got hit, lost it, and then got it back. That's a very, very difficult thing to do. Good concentration.
Yeah, the ball was a little high-yard, and when you're going to take a hit like that, a lot of times the receiver's not able to hang on because of the hit.
Yeah, and if you get a good hit on it, then next time you'll hear footsteps when you go up for it. Hopefully the hit was sufficient to be in his head next time.
38-yard line, 1st down, William Paterson. Diaz-Mays hands it off to the running back, and that is Lawrence getting ahead for a yard or two, no more than a 2 to the 40.
Yeah, Neil Davis getting the tackle on that, and that's certainly significant, but there's lots of contributing players there. You could tell that the swing in from the outside, forcing the player back inside, is what prevented him from having any running room. Good assignment-based defense.
A lot of winnable games coming up on the schedule here for the Knights today against William Paterson, Kane next week on the road. College of New Jersey, who the Knights beat 2 years ago for their conference victory, their one and only conference win so far in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. That's in 2 weeks. That's the final home game on November the 5th. As Diaz-Mays wants to throw, and he fires for Daniels Lundy on the flat and had him out there and just missed him.
Yeah, the pressure maybe starting to get to him just a little bit. The Knights really relentless, finding gaps, getting pressure on the quarterback, and just continually applying that pressure. It doesn't always show results on that first play, but over time it really can.
We talked about William Paterson before the game started, about that 2-4 record, and we mentioned that last week against Salisbury they gave up 77 points, but of course a few weeks ago they knocked off Montclair 18-13, and Montclair, of course, earlier this season had defeated Southern Virginia. So William Paterson certainly capable of beating some good teams.
Yeah, there is not really a tier system or a ranked order per se in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. It's absolutely a scissor paper rock thing where one day you're the rock just beating the heck out of those scissors, and the next the paper's just taking you out. So it's really difficult to know one day to the next who's got the advantage going into a game and who's going to come out with a win.
Good homecoming crowd here at the fields at Southern Virginia University. The women's volleyball team, unsuccessful yesterday, had a great match against St. Mary's. They're in action later today against Marymount at 5 o'clock. And men's and women's soccer both on the road today.
Yeah, definitely an action-packed weekend. It's that time of year where just about everything's in season, and lest we forget basketball is right around the corner as well.
Women's soccer's playing at St. Mary's at 1:30, and followed by men's soccer, I believe, at 3:30 today on the road. Big third down play coming up here, 3rd and 8, ball to 40. Knights defense trying to stop William Paterson's offense and get it for the offense themselves. Playing tight on the pass receivers, but Malcolm Robinson got across the middle, made the catch, spun around, got an extra 5 yards before he's run out of bounds near the 40-yard line. Finally pitched out by Mitch Oram, but not before he made the catch, got the first down, then picked up 5 yards after the catch.
Yeah, it was a great pitch and catch right across the middle there. The Knights have been strong on the outsides, generally speaking, this game. They've been weak in the middle in a couple of situations. Both whenever they pull those linebackers out, whenever they weaken the box in the middle there, you can count on them either coming back and throwing across the middle or running up the middle.
And so William Paterson into Southern Virginia University territory again at the 40-yard line. We played about 11 minutes, and they've had the ball for about 7 or 8 minutes as Daniels Lundy weaves by a couple of defenders and picks up a couple of yards before he is finally knocked to the turf by a host of Knights, including Ty Clegg.
Yeah, swarmed in the backfield that time. A good defensive pressure by the Knights. One thing you can say, every once in a while they'll give up the big play or they'll have something get by them. But boy, they take that personally and they come out. It's very rare that they tilt in situations like that. Most of the time they'll take that and come out firing even harder on the next play.
Only a gain of about a yard. 2nd down coming up here for the Pioneers. Diaz-Mays wants to throw. And he throws that one away because the pressure was on him.
Yeah, coming from all kinds of ways that way. You can see Cloward at the top of your screen swarming in. The push up the middle as well, that was just coming in from all over the place. Certainly Mahe up the middle. Just a huge push by this defensive line.
And again, this 3rd and 9 play may determine whether William Paterson goes for, if it's 4th and short. See if they pick up any yards here. 2 receivers either side. And
watch that middle.
Diaz-Mays wants to throw. Here comes a blitz. It's a screen pass, and he almost threw an interception. Knocked away. Good defense by Bergman.
Yeah, Bergman looking at the ref for an offensive pass interference. Looked like he was stepping up and had an opportunity to make that interception.
You could have easily thrown that flag for that.
Absolutely.
Knights able to sniff out that screen pass and force a William Paterson punt as Harris is the deep return man here.
Well, and I'm sure the Knights defensive staff is looking at that and seeing the same thing I am, which is any time they have 4 or 5 receivers split out, they're going across the middle, whether it's they had that kind of delayed stunt got a flag on this one, or whether it's the quarterback draw or whether it's that screen pass across the middle, whatever it is, they're doing that on purpose.
Legal procedure, 5 yards back. Harris and Morgan Smith are the return men on this punt. Knights have had good special teams play for their kick returners and punt returners this year. That was something else Coach DuPay was talking about.
Oh, high.
The high snap. Punter gets it off. Morgan Smith makes the fair catch, call around the 12-yard line. He was talking in the pregame about the value of his assistant coaches and how they've really added to the program.
Yeah, you've got some star-studded folks top to bottom there. That's why I said I'm sure they're seeing what I am. Chaz Ryan, Coach DuPay had a lot of good things to say about him, and appropriately so. A big get from coming over from Snow College. The defense has been solid all year. And really just it makes his job easier. Coach DuPay is a smart enough guy that he surrounds himself with smart people.
Hanson is the tailback. Knights have it. 1st and 10, their second series with the football. You have this football game up the middle. Nope, they go right side. And Hanson got across the 15, knocked down just shy of the 16-yard line, it looks like.
Yeah, it looked like he was stopping, trying to make a cut there at the sideline. Wasn't aware that there was a man tracking him from behind as well. And that's why you always chase when you're on the backside like that as a defensive player, because you're not always expected to be there. Not everybody's going to do it. And every once in a while it pops up and you have the opportunity to make the play.
Jones under center. Running straight ahead up to the 20-yard line. Hanson again on the carry. Got to the 20. Leaving the Knights looking at 3rd down and short.
Well, it's these little chunks of yards. The Knights, as long as they can consistently get them, they'll take it all day long. But you've got to get those first downs and string them together.
Third down, almost about 2.5 to go. Ty Jones had a great game running the ball last week from the quarterback position. Jones will try it himself, and he looks like he's got the first down.
Ball popped out, though.
Yeah, I think he was down when that ball came loose. And it looks like he may have it himself anyway. So it looks like a first down for the Knights around the 24, just shy of the 25-yard line.
Yeah, what an asset Ty Jones' decision-making is. You've really seen that develop throughout the season. It looked like originally he wasn't sure exactly when to make that pitch. You know, he'd keep it a little too long, sometimes trying to put the burden on his own shoulders, but now really drawing that defense in and then making the pitch.
And he hands off this time up the middle. Looks like that's going to be Fry, and a few offensive linemen carry him for about 4 yards up to around the 28-yard line. You know, we talked yesterday with Coach DePay about how Ty Jones has really evolved and improved week by week this season. Of course, he got behind the 8 ball with that injury he suffered in the Irwin game, and slowly but surely getting towards maybe 100%.
Yeah, and there's so many, woulda, coulda, shouldas. If you have your starting quarterback healthy all season, what difference does that make in a lot of ways to the team? But like Coach said, it's about one day at a time, one play at a time, and benchmarks.
Pitch this time, left side, and the running back, Lahi, gets maybe up to the 28, got it back to almost the line of scrimmage, and now it's third down. A big third down play coming up here for the Knights.
Yeah, got to keep this drive alive, as we've talked about, that winning that field position game. That you've got to gain some more yards because you can't rely on a really long punt to pin him back from this situation. You've got to move it down, so even if you don't score points on this drive, you just keep going back and forth. And, of course, you'd love to get the first down and prolong the drive in general.
Need about 6 to get the first down. Jones on the option. Wild pitch.
On the deck.
And let's see if William Paterson got a hold of that one. They did. They recover at the Knights' 27-yard line. Looked like Ty was waiting to the very last second to make that pitch. Kind of slipped as he made the pitch hard, and disaster here for the Knights.
Yeah, if you're trying to pitch the ball as you're going to the turf, that's such a dangerous situation. Better to take the short loss than, as happened here, give up the huge play in the other direction. Now William Paterson, tremendous field position, and the Knights defense called upon again to make a huge stop.
And they have done a great job of making these kind of stops throughout the season. See if they can keep this a 3-0 game at worst for the Knights. Man in motion is Maldonado. Diaz-Mays will run it. And a short gain. There was, again, the Knights making the play. Skylar Cloward. And we got a penalty flag. Late flag coming in.
Yeah, Michael Ligage jumping through there, getting him around the shoestrings and not letting go.
This is not a face mask.
There's a lot of things we hope it's not.
Which it could be. Usually you see something late when there's a big pile up, and you got to figure maybe a face mask or perhaps, hopefully, we'll see if it goes against the Pioneers. Personal foul against the Pioneers after the play, dead ball foul.
So after the play, so it will be second down, and boy, that's a huge gift for the Knights. We've talked about how they've been rather generous with giving gifts to the other team of this variety in the past, and it certainly helps to have them cut back in this in their favor here.
Must have been some extracurricular activity in and around that pile up. And Coach DePay was telling us yesterday he doesn't mind the inadvertent things like the face mask, but maybe a late hit, that kind of a frustration type of 15-yard penalty, doesn't like those kind of penalties at all.
Yeah, some stuff is just going to happen. He gave the example, you get called for a face mask because you trip, you're going to the ground, your hand flies up, and you catch a guy. That's going to happen, and they're relatively unavoidable. But it's the avoidable mistakes. It's the ones where you actively choose to do something silly, or I think the term he used was selfish. That's the stuff that'll just drive you crazy.
So the quarter ends with William Paterson on top here, 3-0, and with the football, but looking at a much longer second down play due to that 15-yard personal foul penalty.
Yeah, so 3 points in the first quarter, not bad. The Knights have traditionally, as I mentioned earlier, gotten stronger offensively as the game has borne on, but certainly you have to keep that gap small. You don't want to put pressure on an offense that is not designed to put up big numbers throughout the game. So the more you can do to help them have a small gap to close, the better.
It's a big day in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. Not just this game going on, but we've got Wesley at Rowan. Wesley and Rowan, both 4-1 of the conference. Frostburg is also taking on CNU today, and both those teams are 4-1. So you got 5 teams tied at 4-1, and 4 of them are in action, Art, playing each other.
Well, and your guess is as good as anybody's as far as who's going to come away with those games. It's just chaos when it comes to the situation in the conference.
Could
now.
well be the Wesley Rowan winner. Certainly, the winner of that game would have at least, I would think, an inside track to getting a share of the title.
Absolutely true. There's still some teams. There's still a lot of teams that have an opportunity to make a claim to that, and it'll be exciting to see how that shakes out here in the next few weeks.
Yes, Salisbury's at home taking on Kane today, and College of New Jersey is playing at Montclair. Second down long. Diaz-Mays rolls out of the pocket this time and fires on the run. He's got his receiver in the flat. That is Maldonado. Got it down to the 32 or so. They'll mark him closer to the 33.
Yeah, good job forcing him out of the pocket there. You certainly want to see that as a defensive coordinator. It certainly makes the throw more difficult, and good job by the secondary keeping up on that. The problem is when you've got a guy who can improvise and receivers who are willing to play heads up and keep an eye on that as well, it makes it so much more difficult.
Yeah, his ability to run the football just makes him doubly dangerous. Here we go. Third down long. Could be 4-down territory from the 33. Look out for the swing pass, and he fires over the middle, intercepted by Davis. That is Neil Davis making the play, and the Knights get the big turnover they were hoping for here early in the second period.
Neil Davis just read the eyes of the quarterback the entire time. He was sitting back in coverage, backpedaling, saw that he was going to the right there, and just full speed ahead, stepped right up in the gap. Tremendous play.
Now we'll see if the offense can get going after that big Neil Davis interception.
Yeah, and sometimes it just takes a spark like that to get a team going. The defense certainly providing it now, getting that stop the first time, the stop on the second drive after only allowing the field goal on the first. Time for the Knights to take control.
Option left. Good gain. Up to almost the 30-yard line. Ty Jones picked up almost 9 yards on that carry.
Yeah, good drive. So now you can hopefully start getting sparks yourself. The more that you can follow this, the more that all of a sudden it's okay. Well, we don't just have to take exciting plays from our defense. We can take them from our offense as well.
Yeah, an interception like that, Art, not only gives you the ball back, but really boosted the team's momentum a little bit.
Yeah, it boosts yours and takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails of the opponent as well.
Here's Fry, first down, 30, 35, up to the 37-yard line. Almost 8 yards for Michael Fry, and the Knights have a first down.
Yeah, you can feel the momentum shifting. The crowd's getting into it a little bit. Coach DuPay there screaming in from the sideline. A very good shift for the Knights.
So the Knights have a first down.
Looked like the Knights were going to try to go a little tempo after the first couple of plays there, but now slowing it down, making sure they know exactly what they're doing. We do have Rhett Honeycutt stepping in now.
Jones hands it straight up the middle. That's a good gain, though, on first down. Fry getting all the way to the 40 for almost 4 yards.
Well, and it's all you need to do. Just keep moving the sticks. We talk about it so much, but it's because, it's funny. That's something else that Coach DuPay said yesterday. He said we have to become masters of the mundane. We don't have to become circus performers out here. We need to be really good at getting basic blocks, really good at getting a few yards of play. That's all it takes.
Here's the option left this time by Ty Jones. He got 3 yards to the 43 before he got shoved back. He also talked about the value of having depth when it comes to running backs because it keeps them fresh. You shuttle them in and out.
Yeah, just a quick substitution there, getting a pair of fresh legs in there, especially against a defense that if you can stay on the field long enough, really these small plays help even more because they have to keep firing off the line over and over and over again, and you can wear them down. And that's perhaps why the offense picks up farther into the game is because you've got a worn-down defense and a lot of fresh legs on offense.
3rd down and short, 3rd and 3 to go. Jones going to throw. Nope, quick pitch. And not ready for it was Solovey. It goes as a pass, incomplete pass. So they tried the quick pitch to Solovey, and the defenders were there to be fair to Solovey. And even if he had caught that ball, it would have been tough for him to pick up 3 yards.
Yeah, it does bring up 4th down, 4th and short. So the Knights have, I mention it every time, the Knights have fake punted once this season in the Earlham game. 4th and 3, about midfield.
Something to look out for when you got a running back, Hanson, also as the punter. They load the right side. Hanson's going to kick it away. And didn't get maybe as much as he was hoping for. It's going to be Pioneer ball at their own 35-yard line.
Yeah, not a tremendous kick. You have to wonder, in a situation like that, it may seem questionable around midfield. Do you go for it on 4th and 3? But for anybody who saw the BYU-Boise State game a couple of nights ago, when you're –
Yeah, what was that, a fake punt deep in their own end?
4th and 19 from their own 1-yard line and a designed fake punt.
The coach defended that call after the game.
And the interesting thing is they got about a yard out of it, and then it ended up cutting back in their favor anyway after a fumble. So a few plays later, it works out. But who knows?
And the Pioneers starting this drive at their own 35-yard line. Diaz-Mays, quarterback draw. And he is wrapped up at the 40 for about a gain of almost 6 yards. Got it almost to the 41-yard line as Garcia made the play.
Yeah, so the field position does switch back a little bit in the way of the Knights. William Paterson, after that fumble, had great field position. So now the Knights able to reverse it, but they've got to get a stop here so that when they get it back, their field position improves. It's just that back and forth and keep working it more and more towards your end zone over time.
Maybe another turnover as Diaz-Mays wants to throw.
Big gap.
Pressured out of the pocket. Rolling. He can run. And he got up to the 43, almost the 44. Picked up a couple. Avoided the loss. And now it's 3rd and short for the Pioneers.
Boy, what a huge push up the middle for the Knights. There's Mahe again. We've called his name a lot today, but he's just getting penetration. You can tell, and this is something Coach DuPay mentioned, size-wise, the Knights will have the advantage today. Speed-wise, not so much, but as they get that push up the middle, if they can get a little bit of support coming from the outside there to help out, the Knights are really in good shape defensively.
Big 3rd and 2 play for both teams at the 43-yard line.
Stop here would be huge for the Knights.
Diaz-Mays gives to Daniel Lundy, and he is
Ball's
not only
on the
stopped,
deck.
but the ball is fumbled, picked up by the Knights. And they'll get it back to the 30-yard line.
It's on the deck again. And I think he was down after that second one.
Yeah.
Huge defensive play there by the Knights.
Knights not only pick up the football, but run it ahead a few yards.
Yeah,
was that Mahi? Mahi who actually picked it up and ran with it.
I think it is, and boy, yeah. I would not want to try to tackle him if it were me. I'd just be like, you know what, you earned this one, man. Go ahead.
He is having a heck of a ball game. The freshman from Glendale, Utah.
Yeah,
J.J. Mahe picking up the fumble, getting it back almost to the 31-yard line. So the Knights are in business, and they have their second turnover of the game defensively.
Yeah, winning that turnover battle. It's the one thing written on Coach DuPay's whiteboard. He's talked about it, and takeaways in this case put the Knights in a great situation here, great field position. They have to convert with some points.
Hanson the tailback. Ball at the 30-yard line. Harris in motion to the left. Jones pitches to Harris. He goes out of bounds, but he picked up almost 5 yards. Got close to the 25.
Yeah, a little bit of room. Just a few yards on every play, getting closer, especially when you start that close to the goal. Some good possibilities.
So the Knights have a fumble recovery and also earlier an interception by Neil Davis. Ball to go. Pitch right this time to Solovey. He skips over a blocker, got it to the 19-yard line, had to jump over his blocker, Niley, and then he got it down to the 19-yard line. Good play by Solovey, who scored the touchdown last week for the Knights.
Yeah, not sure what happened with Naliai there. He was down on the turf by the time his man got there, but it was enough for a first down. Just keep moving. This would be such a huge thing for the Knights. They've held very tight in a lot of games this year. They've had some very good showings. They have not led a game in quite a while, though.
And here is the pitch to Nala. He goes to the left side this time, and William Paterson wraps him up. Now there is a penalty flag, so let's see if this is a face mask maybe.
Well, we do have
helmet off for Lakeith Hopkins.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sign that face mask is at least on the table.
And if that is the call, it'll march it inside the 10.
You notice the referee or the side judge had his hat off as well there, which means that somebody got pushed out of bounds.
Holding is the call. So it goes against the Knights instead. And it's going to be a face mask against.
An offsetting.
Yep. Face mask against William Paterson.
Okay, so good clarification there by the referee. So Lakeith Hopkins had his helmet essentially taken off for him by a defensive player.
So he gets to stay in the game, doesn't have to come out for one play.
Right, and boy, that's a big gift for the Knights as well. The hold offset there, so you'd love to see that not happen and get a big gain off of it.
Because that play really wasn't going anywhere.
Right. So the replay of the down helps a lot.
1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Fry right up the middle, up the gut, down to the 14.
Yeah, good push by the offensive line, as long as we're talking about folks that don't get their names called enough. Good push that time. Spencer Butler really giving a lot up the middle. Ivan Poole as well. Whenever you see that run up the middle for 4 or 5 yards, you can credit the offensive line with at least 2 or 3 of them for getting a good fire off the line.
And the offensive line has really picked it up the last few weeks, too. The Knights have been able to run the football much more effectively in the second half of the season as opposed to the first half.
Yeah, talking about units that have really improved, that's certainly a group worth mentioning.
There you go to the option left side this time, and a good defensive play by the Pioneers. That was Pat Moran, who's also the kicker, coming in, making the play, and knocking down Jones for a loss back to the 16-yard line. And that should bring up 3rd down, about 7 to go.
Boy, kickers this season in college football taking on all kinds of roles, aren't they? I feel like that's a shift that's only happened fairly recently.
Well, depending here, Art, what they do on 3rd down, if they don't pick up anything, the Knights will have a choice, 4th down or a field goal to try to tie the game. See what happens here on 3rd down. Jones runs the option to the right.
Good
pitches to Solovey, and he's down to the 9.
Yeah, it was good block there just on the outside of the Knights' offensive line. Did not see the number on that, but just going at the legs, taking the guy out, springing that running back, giving him some room.
1st and goal. Oh, let's see, they're going to measure. Got very close to the 9-yard line. They had to get to the 9 to get a 1st down. So it's either going to be 1st and goal at the 9 or maybe 4th and inches.
Yeah, and in that situation, what do you do? I mean, tying the football game is certainly
Oh, I think you go
big,
for it. Yeah, but you get the choice.
I don't disagree with you, but again, we've seen some pretty insane stuff of late. We will get the measurement here, and I don't think they got it.
Looks like it might be shy by a few inches, maybe a foot or so.
10 or 12 links of chain.
So decision time here for the Knights. Point-blank field goal would tie the game. It would be about a 26-yarder.
And Coach DePay talked about that a little while ago as well. I think when we talked to them last week, he said, we're not afraid to kick field goals. We've got confidence in a kicker. If we can get a good shot without too much distance on it, we've got a good guy.
Showing he's got confidence in his offensive line.
Huge play right
Jones
here.
just takes it himself. Nope, gives to Hanson up the middle, and he's got the first down and more. Down near the 2.
That's that
quick count too. It looked like.
Yep, offensive line again, and you're absolutely right. That's a huge thing for the Knights. Earlier this season, we saw them run that play twice in a row, I believe, and get a false start each time because that quick count you have to be ready for. The whole point is the snap count as the offense. You should never get caught on that. Your whole point is to catch the defense. But in this case, great job knowing it.
And up the middle, touchdown. Knights score to make it 6-3.
And I cannot emphasize this enough. The Southern Virginia Knights have not led for a moment of a game since the Earlham game, the very first game of the year. This has got to feel so good, and hopefully this is some confidence they can build on and come away with a win in this one.
Well, you had the 2 big defensive turnovers, of course. Davis's interception followed by the fumble recovery by Mahe, and then the Knights offense gets it on track with the touchdown drive, and then the extra point try by Horman is up and good, and the Knights just like that have a 7-3 lead here in the second period.
Yeah, just a massive shift there for the Knights. You love to see the defense get the takeaways and contribute. You love to see the offense step up and score as well. It's building that confidence. It's buying in. It's trusting that the system that Coach Dupay has installed will work, and things like this absolutely reinforce that. I don't know who the person is that has to go get the ball from down the hills in the woods there after that extra point, but I guarantee you if it's the Knights kicking them through there, they'll take volunteers.
No doubt.
That's certainly worth doing.
And it shows all 3 facets of the game coming together, special teams, and in that case, defense making the turnover, getting the fumble recovery, and then the offense turning it into 6 points.
Yeah, so far so good for the Knights. We still do have a half of the second quarter here to play, but we should also remember the Knights do get the ball at the half as well.
Knights would love to take a lead into the halftime locker room and try to win this game in the second half and pick up their second ever New Jersey Athletic Conference victory. Their first came 2 years ago against the College of New Jersey,
who they still have left on the schedule so far this season as well.
Coming up in 2 weeks, that's the final home game on November the 5th. Final game of the season, November the 12th, against Christopher Newport on the road. Knights will be at Kane next week.
Good kick.
10-yard line. That is Malcolm Robinson back to the 20. Stutter steps his way to the 25. He's still on his feet, going backwards now, and he's finally down around the 25.
Yeah, good job keeping to their lanes as well. You can see as a special teams coach, that's something that you really like seeing as well, is when the man starts coming up field and he looks to the left and he goes, okay, I can't go that way, so he stops and he cuts back to the right. Oh, okay. And he,
that was better going off the other way.
Yeah, so great, good job by Robinson. All the credit to him for finding a way to cut and weave and find ways to move up and gain a few extra yards on that, but no big holes, nothing easy for him.
Yeah, the Pioneers will start this drive at their own 24-yard line, now trailing for the first time in the game, 7-3. Diaz-Mays wants to fire. He's pressured.
Big
he got out of
hole.
the pocket, and he cuts his way to the 31-yard line.
Yeah,
Look, he got away initially from Cloward.
Yeah, such a dangerous quarterback. Every time the quarterback drops back like that, we always say he's looking to pass. I don't know that that's true, though.
No.
There's some quarterbacks, and I think it could very well be said in this situation with Diaz-Mays that when he drops back, he's looking to clear out the box and find room to run.
And it might be he's looking to pass for the first second or two, which then quickly changes to looking to run.
Also true.
2nd down, 3 to go. Stuffs that ball to the running back up the middle of Lawrence, and he is pushed back by Marcos Garcia.
Yeah, what a massive hit on that one. Great job. The Knights all contributing on that one. Pei Tuiaki just laying him down.
Good gang tackling by the Knights to make it a 3rd and short for the Pioneers. And this has got to be a frustrating game so far for the Pioneers. Earlier, of course, they had the 3-0 lead, and they were also dominating time of possession, Art, but because of a couple of turnovers, suddenly they're down here by 4 points in the second period.
Yeah, it's probably something they were not expecting coming into this game.
Watch out for Diaz-Mays. He looks like he wants to throw. Now he wants to run. Now he's pressured.
Almost,
Got away from one man, and he's out at the 34-yard line.
And this is the thing that hopefully as that game goes on, that the defense can not just get pressure, but you get a hold of a shoestring in that scenario, and it's a sack and a really long fourth down instead of a first.
Yeah, Bergman almost had him for a huge loss in the backfield. Instead, he is able not only to get out of that situation, but actually pick up positive yardage for a first down.
Well, and you really have to give a lot of credit to the secondary, because when you've got a quarterback back there in the pocket, he's got time, he's looking. If he's choosing to run, it could also very well be that he just doesn't have anybody to throw to.
34-yard line, man in motion, and that is the man who gets the ball. It is DiMarsico, and he goes out of the 41-yard line. He picks up 6, maybe 7 yards on the reverse.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, Jim, that the possibility that every once in a while when that man goes in motion to keep the defense honest, you run it 5, 6, 7 times and you don't see that man get the ball. Every once in a while you give it to him and it's not what you're expecting. It does catch the Knights off guard a little bit for a 7-yard gain. Well,
you mentioned too, Art, the value of showing, I guess, a set formation, but having options for either or, I guess, running off that formation.
Here it is again. Watch that middle.
Quick screen to the left side. Knights seemingly have it wrapped up for a short gain up to the 43-yard line as the pass went over to Henry.
Well, and there's another example of it as well, is every time previously that we had seen that, it was something across the middle.
Yep.
And so in that case, if as a defender you're smelling that and you're starting to adjust to it, they'll keep you honest again by throwing that screen pass. Had the Knights crashed down to the middle there would have been a lot of running room. That could have broken for a very big play.
So the Pioneers get another first down at the 44-yard line. With the clock running down here, Art, in the second period, this is a huge defensive stand the Knights need. As you mentioned, they get the ball to begin playing the second half. If they can go into the halftime with a 7-3 lead, it would be big since they get the ball to begin playing the third quarter. But it's going to take the defense to make a stand here.
Very true. Coming out of the shotgun, that same formation.
They roll right. Quick pitch. And the Knights defensively stop Henry at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, flying into the back.
Bergman again?
Thomas Barrios with
Yep.
the backside pressure as well, forcing the quarterback out of the pocket there. I really like how the Knights are mixing up their looks. They're mixing up their pressures. They're just not letting the quarterback get comfortable back there for the Pioneers. And that's one of the few things you can do to try to mitigate some of that versatility that a quarterback can bring to you.
Loss of almost 2 back to the 42. Second and long. Let's see if Diaz-Mays throws here. Nope, going to run the handoff over to DiMarsico. Nowhere for him to go. He steps out at the 40-yard line.
Great job again. Exactly what Coach Dupay was talking about. If they beat you with it once, okay. They beat you with it a second time, you're in trouble. That same formation, that same play that we just saw a minute ago.
That was Barrios also getting in there too.
Yeah. So 3rd and 12, a huge play. 3rd and 13, actually, a loss of a yard ultimately on that. If the Knights can get a stop here, 7-3 going into the locker room is great. 10 or 14-3 going into the locker room is even better.
They might actually have a few minutes to work with on offense if they so choose. But first and foremost, they've got to stop the Pioneers on this third down play, and now the Pioneers will take a timeout.
Yeah, didn't like what they saw. Wanted to take a minute and talk it over. Southern Virginia in a great position as well. We've seen them have to take some timeouts at inopportune moments throughout the season as well, but not so today. They've got all 3 of them, which based on the speed of their offense, which is designed to be kind of slow, laborious, and knock them down over time. They may need those to have a prolonged drive down the field with only 3 minutes left in the half.
See number 17 there, Joel Bergman. He has had a great defensive first half.
Yeah, so many names we could mention across the defense, but you're absolutely right. Bergman's been huge. Mahe's been huge. Just so many guys really just knowing their role, stepping up, doing it, and contributing. And I guarantee none of these guys want to be the highlight player of this game. They want to be the winner of this game, and whatever it takes, whether it's their name called out, or anybody else, the W is what's most important.
What they really would like to do now is maybe get that third turnover. They've got a couple of turnovers off of the Pioneers already. And Diaz Mays is pressured again. And he's sacked this time back at the 31-yard line as Moa came in and knocked him down. And that time he did not get away.
That's exactly what we're talking about, Jim. Simi Wallace stepping in there. The last time he got through, he just barely touched the foot. This time he comes through and gets the sack. It's just wearing on him more and more every time somebody's coming and giving pressure. And this time comes up huge for 4th and a mile.
Yeah, Simi is one heck of an athlete to chase down a guy like Diaz Mays and get the big sack. And now, because it's all the way back to the 31-yard line, now the Knights can not only think about getting the ball back on the punt, but maybe getting some good field position for the offense.
Absolutely. And lest we forget, special teams have been really big. There's been some good kick returns, some good punt returns for the Knights. I wouldn't count out a solid return on this one either. And boy, as Simi came through that time, you could see he was remembering the last time he came through and just kind of had that token effort, reaching out and grabbing the foot. This time he's like arm barring across the legs. He was not going to let Mays get away from him this time.
Knights trying to get the homecoming victory, hoping for a big punt return here maybe, because there's still plenty of time on the clock for the offense to work with if the Knights want to take a shot at the end zone before halftime.
4th and 23. I don't think this one's going to be a fake.
Harris and Smith are back there to return it.
It's a good kick.
And this is Morgan, 45-yard line, up to the 48-yard line. Good return by the sophomore from Newport Richey, Florida, Morgan Smith. And the Knights are in business.
I saw a flag come in on that one, I think.
And we saw one of the Knights complaining or just making his case, trying to make a case to the referee. So it may be a blocking penalty. Could be a block in the back, perhaps, or a hold.
No, I saw that. That's the angle that the ref saw it from. I understand why he made that call. But boy, you could watch and see that there was like one hand just barely on there, and the guy slips, and immediately the hands go up. And sometimes you sell yourself out when you do that by making it look like you did something worse. That's a really difficult pill to swallow. I don't think that's a good call, but I understand.
Spot foul apparently too, all the way back at the 30-yard line.
Yeah.
Instead of up or almost by midfield. See how the Knights treat this as Jones runs the option to the left to Harris. John Harris trying to get out of bounds and maybe pick up some yards. Got a few.
Yeah, it's a tough break, but you can't focus on that. As we were talking it over with Coach Dupay yesterday, he said, the referees, all they do is they tell you the situation of the game.
Yeah, he says, at least as far as the coaches are concerned, hopefully the players too, you got to move on.
Yeah, this is your situation. Okay, so they tell you you've got 70 yards to go in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. What are you going to do? And he said that's where it steps in. That's our job, is what are we going to do?
Option to the right this time. Pitch to Harris, nowhere to go. He'll lose a couple of yards. There is a flag down. Let's hope it's not a blocking penalty on Lorenzen.
Yeah, that's about the only thing that it can be in that situation. There's very few penalties situationally there.
Especially since Harris was boxed in and he was not going to be able to go anywhere, and it is a blocking penalty. Hold against the Knights, decline because it's a 3-yard loss, and so William Paterson will force the Knights into a 3rd down.
Yeah, very difficult situation.
Now the Knights aren't really thinking maybe going into the end zone so much as trying to pick up this 3rd down play to keep William Paterson's offense off the field until the halftime arrives.
They're thinking about not backing up into the other end zone at this point. Big 3rd down.
Have to get up to the 35. Option left. Jones pitches the ball. Nowhere to go. Going to be a loss back almost to the 22-yard line.
Yeah, and I think that's the difficult thing about running that option is even if you've got a quarterback who can quickly read and know when to pitch the ball, you've got to have a running back that immediately catches it and goes forward because he doesn't have a pitch option. It's once you get it, it's on you. And I think maybe just a little bit of indecision there, and that can certainly happen as well when you do rotate so many running backs through so quickly, as that cohesiveness doesn't always come right away.
William Paterson only has one timeout left, and we're almost down to a minute now.
Yeah, the Knights are going to let the clock run.
Even at the expense of a 5. No, they take the timeout. They've got plenty of timeouts to burn. And right now the Knights don't want to make any mistakes here in the last minute, Art. They want to make sure they take the 7-3 lead into halftime.
Yeah, and while special teams in general has been a bright spot for the Knights, they have struggled a little bit. Special teams involves both kickoff, kick return, punt, and punt return. And in this scenario, punting has not always been a strong suit for the Knights, and they're going to need it to be in this situation.
Good chance to remind you about the new launch of Southern Virginia University's new official gear website, gear.svu.edu, the newest and best source for all official university gear. All orders are shipped within 24 hours guaranteed. You can look for casual wear, tailgating equipment, infant clothing, office supplies, you name it. That is gear.svu.edu.
There's some folks here at the game showing off their SVU gear here today as well. It is a whiteout. Lots of folks rocking their SVU white here in the stands.
Hoping for that homecoming victory and also the second ever victory in the New Jersey Athletic Conference. And the Knights also trying to get that first ever win against William Paterson.
There's that adjustment as well.
Hanson getting ready to kick from the 10-yard line. Got it away.
Pretty short, very short. Did
And
it hit a player?
The Knights fall on at the 47. I don't know that it hit a William Paterson player, but came very close. But no signal from the referees. In which case, William Paterson's going to have the ball at the 47 with still 48 seconds to work with.
Very dangerous in that situation.
Good play by the special teams, just in case it hit a player, to be on top of that ball.
Oh, absolutely. You fall on it just in case.
So let's see if the Pioneers make that. Trying to take a shot downfield from the 47-yard line. They got plenty of time here. They only have one timeout left, but they've got enough time to try to get within field goal range. And Diaz-Mays has a pretty good arm.
Good pressure in the pocket. Oh!
Nice spin move to get away and throw to the back. That is Henry, and he goes out at the 39-yard line.
Yeah, it's good pressure, but you can't get too excited about that, especially if you're the defensive line. Absolutely, go at him, get excited, go for it. But you can't, in the secondary, assume that that's going to play out. You've got to play your man. But frankly, secondary probably doing that, preventing the long ball. So it's that ability to adjust on the fly, know what's going on. It's so difficult when they start improvising.
They might need another 20, 25 yards to get in realistic field goal range. Timeout taken by the Knights.
Well, and as you mentioned, you certainly don't want to blow anything now. Big plays going into the half have been a plague of the Knights in years past. We've seen it less this season, but it's certainly been there.
Yeah, probably in the huddle. I would think somewhere along the line you might go, watch out for the fly pattern down the sidelines.
Yeah, that is the number one rule when it comes to playing in the defensive secondary. If you're a safety, nothing gets behind you, because if it does, there's nothing you can do about it. There's open pasture. So at least if it stays in front of you, you've got a chance to come up and play and get a stop, especially with this little time on the clock. Just first downs are fine. Touchdowns are not. Everything stays in front of you.
Yeah, last week it wasn't the defense giving up the big play right before halftime. It was the offense on a handoff, fumbling the ball back to Rowan and allowing Rowan to get a score right before halftime when it looked like it was maybe going to be 10-0 at halftime. Or maybe actually 3-0 at halftime. That made it 10-0 at halftime. So from the 39-yard line.
Holding on it, the referee just asked to reset the game clock, I believe, to 37 seconds. No, they put it 3. That's good. Let's just leave it at 3 seconds. There it is at 37. We'll run it from there. Couple seconds like that can make a huge difference.
See if William Paterson plays for the field goal or maybe takes a shot way down. Here comes the
Good.
blitz, and the
Ball's on the
ball's
deck.
loose, but it looks like, no, the ball's picked up by the Knights, and back with it is Orem, and he will score.
Huge play by the Southern Virginia defense. That pressure all day long coming up in it. That's what we're talking about. It's you get pressure, you start out just getting them out of the pocket, forcing a bad throw. After that, you get the sack, and now the ball comes loose. You run it all the way back. Southern Virginia with a massive play going into halftime.
The defense popping the ball loose, Art, and then Orem having the presence of mind to grab it and go.
Yeah, Mitch Orem, the defensive back, freshman out of Firth, Idaho, comes away with that one. And what's so smart is normally in that situation, you just think to fall on the deck. He's like, no, I got this. Picks it up, takes it all the way to the house.
Knew that the clock was going to be a factor, and now Horman with the extra point try misses. Off to the left. Still 13-3 Knights with about 24 seconds left till halftime.
And what a momentum shift as you're going into the locker room. I mean, obviously 24 seconds, you still have to kick off again. But, man, if you're William Paterson, you are shaking in your orange and black shoes at this point after those last couple of plays.
Well, Art, you talked about it earlier, too, how the defense, you just can't let a quarterback like Diaz-Mays go back and set up. You really have to put the pressure on, and that time the Knights did exactly that.
Well, and let's give credit where credit's due as well. I mean, Diaz-Mays has done a great job of improvising from all kinds of looks, getting pressure from all kinds of directions throughout this game. He's done a phenomenal job running this offense. In that situation, though, hanging the ball out there a little bit, just a little too loose. And, boy, did the Knights make him pay for it.
And it looked like for a split second there that he was going to be able to recover his own fumble, but the Knights were able to grab it instead.
Yeah, and that's why you wrap up. You don't just hit as well. Because in that scenario, you can wrap up the guy. If you don't know the ball's on the deck, tackling's fine. It's essentially holding in any other scenario, but if the guy's got the ball or had it a second ago, basically, it's all fair game.
So really the key in this first half, 3 William Paterson turnovers, an interception, and now 2 fumbles they have lost. And all of those turnovers have resulted in SVU points.
The crowd is pumped. The team is pumped. And if you can just stifle the William Paterson offense for 24 more seconds, what a huge – and a good kick. Yeah, it makes it very difficult to return.
Pioneers will have Malcolm Robinson trying the left side, and he is hit and knocked to the turf by Aaron Vinson. Aaron Vinson, number 15, freshman from Missouri.
So I should say good kick situationally there. That's not something you want to see every play, but certainly you want to prevent the big return. You don't want a traditional situation. It's just like you're doing to the quarterback. You don't want him to be able to set up shop. You want to make him improvise. So right there you can see it bouncing all the way down in between the legs of a William Paterson player. Good job.
William Paterson's going to play it safe, take the knee, and go into the locker room down by 10. Well, some of the factors that Coach DePay talked about being important in this game, one of them was turnovers, and without question, the Knights are winning the turnover battle.
Yeah, I believe at this point it's 3 takeaways and 1 giveaway, 2 fumbles recovered and an interception for Southern Virginia. And look at that energy. You can tell these guys are excited.
Drastically different energy from team to team.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to be excited about from a Southern Virginia perspective at this point. It's the first time, as we mentioned earlier, that they've led in a game since the first one this season. And that huge momentum play into the half. Points are certainly important, but man, so is that shift to feel the confidence like you're doing better, like this may come out as a win. That shift may even be worth more than the points.
So the Knights have a 13-3 lead here against William Paterson at Homecoming Art at halftime, and we've got a special guest here at halftime.
We do. We've got Craig Lund on the broadcast joining us here at the half. Craig's got a lot of experience both here at the university and with football in general. Let's see. I believe he currently works in the admissions department. He's done a little bit of coaching here for us in the past. You have a son-in-law who played football here at Southern Virginia in Joe Whetstone, and I understand you played a little bit of college football yourself. Did you not, Craig?
Yeah, I played a little bit. I played at the University of Oklahoma back in the 70s, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
40-something years ago.
And
is it on?
It looks like you've got a little ring on your finger to show for it as well.
Yeah, we when I was there, I played from 1972 to 75, season of 75. Last 2 years that we won the national championship in 74 and 75. So had some great years there. In fact, the 4 years I was there, we only lost 2 games. So it was a pretty amazing run. I guess the notable thing was that the 3 of the coaches I played for, one was Barry Switzer, another was Jimmy Johnson, who recruited me to play there, and then and Mike Shanahan, he was my receivers coach my senior year. All of them ended up in the NFL as head coaches. All of them won Super Bowls. So so had some really good coaching back then, and it was a great opportunity to be a part of a winning team and tradition. We go back every so many years for reunions, and it's great to be a part of that.
How about some of your teammates too? Was Joe Washington on that team?
Joe Washington was, in fact, he was a very good friend of mine. Still is to this day, and in fact, we were there last year at a reunion we had for the national championship teams, and we had some great memories we shared. And Leroy Selman was the #1 draft pick my senior year with Tampa Bay. The very first draft pick of that franchise was Leroy Selman, Outland Trophy winner, and amazing. Made it into the NFL Hall of Fame. Had some other great players as well. Just amazing time there.
I don't know how it compares today, but back then, obviously, Oklahoma-Nebraska was a heck of a rivalry.
Oklahoma-Nebraska and Oklahoma-Texas, another good rivalry. Luckily, when the 4 years we beat all 4 of those 2 teams, Nebraska and Texas, each year. So that was good. A lot of my friends went to University of Texas. I went to high school in Dallas area, so good recruiting area for Oklahoma and all those Texas teams. So I had a lot of friends that went to University of Texas. It was great to be able to be on the winning side of the ball each of those 4 years.
Well, and it's clear you remember even all these years later those 2 teams, those 2 years you're able to come away with as well. Obviously, big wins for the school.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. And in fact, even my sophomore year in 1973, I thought was actually our best team. We were undefeated that year, but we were ineligible to play in a bowl game. We were on probation. We had signed a couple of kids that were not academically eligible, and the high school coach had changed the transcripts. So so they could play in college. We signed them, and we got on probation. So that 1 year, I thought we didn't go to a bowl game. So we were the only undefeated team that year. So I thought we should have won it that year too, but we weren't eligible to do that. So, but it was a great time there. Great time. I actually ended up here coaching in 2003. I was living up in Northern Virginia, and we started at football that year. And I had 2 of my kids that had been here to school, and Candace came here in 1999, and my son Preston, they played basketball here, and they started football in 2003. So I got a call from the college saying, "Hey, how would you like to be a part of the getting the football program started?" So I said, "Yeah, come down." We came down here and coached for 4 years. Had a great time and working in admissions, and I still work in the admissions department at Southern Virginia University. So we love it here. It's a great university. We're having a great game today. Defense is stepping up, and so we're another team is doing very well. William Paterson's a very good team as well.
What do you remember about those early years? And again, we've had football now here at the Knights for over a decade. So you go back to those early years, and you guys were scheduling anybody and everybody, and a lot of bus trips.
That's right, a lot of bus trips.
I seem to recall one year you guys went once to Maine, twice to Florida?
Yeah, we did. Matter of fact, those were long bus rides. In fact,
just getting guys ready for the NFL. Travel everywhere.
Yeah, I never forget Coach Hatch, one of the coaches that was here, and we took one bus up to Maine that first year, and we got up there, and Coach Hatch, he had some physical challenges, and he says, "Coach Lund, he goes, can we rent a car and just drive me back because I can't get back on that bus?" It was great. We didn't do that though. We made it back, but yeah, it was great. We that first year, I think we won one game. I think we beat George Mason's club team.
Yep.
But
2007 was the first winning season.
2007. Matter of fact, that was the first year I didn't coach.
Well, but
just missed it.
Well, but
we set him up. Yeah,
See, I was actually going to say we talk a lot about trajectory right now. The Southern Virginia team's been on some upswings and some downswings, and football, I think, because you've got so many guys on the team. 1 year to the next, you're not going to see a huge difference one way or the other. Generally, it takes a few years to build up and to change that trend.
Oh, absolutely.
So certainly, I think that it's justifiable to say building up to that 2007.
One of the players I coached back then, I coached the receivers, was McKay Dunn, who had a phenomenal year. He was, in fact, he led all divisions in receiving. I think he had 100 and something like 9 catches something that year, and or more than that, I guess it was. But in yardage, I think 1,800 yards. Had a great year. So
another guy was Luke Taylor.
Luke Taylor was the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's right. Had a great year that year. Coach Mike Smith was coaching that year.
Yeah.
After Coach Bureau left, and they had a great year that year. And we have had some other good teams too. Coach Fitzgerald had a great team a few years ago and back, and now we're building. You know, we're building each year and getting better. This team is going to be better, and next year with Coach DePay in place and the phenomenal coaching staff, we're looking for great things out of the team.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if the guys today really, appreciate the dues you guys paid in those early years.
I don't know. I remember playing one of the games we played on Camden Field, which is was our practice field, and that's where that
had a lot of ruts to it.
a lot of potholes.
Yeah.
I wasn't even playing. I was turning my ankle out there.
Yeah, I heard. I actually heard one of the Tiny Tot coaches out there the other day that still play on Camden Field complaining about how that field was not up to the standards necessary for Tiny Tot football, and we're playing.
Well, the funny part was that we had to play one of the games there because Pear McClure, which was the game we played, the high school that we played on, their field, and there was a lot of bad weather and rain and stuff, and the high school said, you can't play there this week.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll play at Camden, and we played our best game at Camden, and the players wanted to continue to play at Camden, and we love this place.
Yeah, in fact, in some of those early years, the so-called home field was Amherst, almost an hour away.
We did play at Amherst in those games. That's right. That's exactly right. So we did we paid our dues, and now we're coming to fruition here at this place, and the stadium is getting built. Hopefully, we'll be done this next year. Looks like. So we're really excited about what's going on there. So things are moving along here in Southern Virginia.
Well, we certainly want to get your opinion on or your take on the first half of this football game. You've already listed your credentials clearly, probably better than either of us to make an assessment. So, what do you think as far as the first half of the game?
Well, obviously it's been a defensive game, but I really feel that both sides of the ball, they're both playing well, both teams. And I think their offense, we got to pick it up here, so both sides can do better there. I think that their quarterback, William Paterson, is very athletic. I mean, I think he's done a phenomenal job. You got to contain him. He goes back, and he had some really good throws that first part of the first quarter. So I think that got to look for him and contain him. On our side, on offense, I think things are picking up. They're doing better in the run game. It kind of reminds me back when I played. There was Darrell Worrell coached at Texas. He had recruited me to play there, and I decided not to go there. But he said about running the ball, because we do a lot of running out here, right? He said there's three things that happen when you throw the ball, and 2 of them aren't good. So I think we're following that pattern here at Southern Virginia. But obviously the defense, both sides are playing very well. And we got that last score on a great defensive play there. And so, but I look the offenses to both sides of the ball pick it up the second half, and I think the defense has got to continue to play well.
Well, we neglected to mention, what position did you play in college?
Well, I played tight end. Actually, one of the years I played outside of defensive end. We called it Okie 5-2, but it was more like a linebacker.
Did they actually throw to the tight ends back then?
hey, one game I got 2 balls thrown to me.
Okay.
It was a crazy.
Back in the 70s, tight ends were blockers.
I had a 40-yard reception. One of those games. It was. But the interesting thing was we ran the wishbone, of course, and we ran it very well. A lot of running backs back then. Billy Sims was a backup when I was a senior.
I think I heard of that guy.
He was a backup. Seriously, we had Joe Washington, Elvis Peacock, Horace Ivory, Kenny King played the Raiders.
Yeah,
we were loaded.
You missed Greg Pruitt by a couple of years.
Greg Pruitt. I played. Well, Greg was a senior when I was a freshman.
Okay.
So I got to play with him as well. But Greg. Oh yeah, we had some amazing players. But Oklahoma, we ran the ball a lot and had an amazing offense that we ran there with the wishbone. But which is kind of similar with the same thing. It's triple option. But it all depends where you line up those running backs. But we were it was pretty incredible. We've playing there. But what the interesting thing was, though, in the wishbone there was one wide receiver position. So you had 3 running backs plus a quarterback, really 4 running backs. One wide receiver position. We had one at that one position. My senior year, we had 2 players that alternated. That Tinker Owens with Steve Owens' little brother. Steve won the Heisman Trophy. Tinker Owens ended up with the New Orleans Saints, and Billy Brooks ended up with the Cincinnati Bengals. they both ran that one position. Both of them made first-team All-American at different polls back then, and they're both drafted in the pros. Billy was drafted in the first round. He was a backup wide receiver in the wishbone. He was a first-round draft pick before Archie Griffin was drafted to the Cincinnati Bengals. Archie was drafted the lower part of the first round, and Billy was drafted in the middle of I think it was 11th pick, but. That was it was pretty amazing watching those two guys because I had to play with them. So I'm the tight end. These guys in the game. We were running the ball. They were throwing the ball at them. I got the ball a few times.
What was it? What were the coaches like? You mentioned
coaches. Well, the coaching we had amazing coaching. Coach Chuck Fairbanks actually was the head coach there. He ended up with the New England Patriots,
right? Yeah.
And did really well. He left my freshman year to be the head coach of the New England Patriots. But Jimmy Johnson, I said before that he had recruited me to play there. And Jimmy ended up with, of course, eventually with Miami Hurricanes and the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Won a couple of Super Bowls there. And then he left my freshman year when Larry Switzer took over. He ended up leaving there, going on to bigger and better things. And then I think I mentioned before that Mike Shanahan was my receivers coach my senior year. The thing about Mike was that he had come in as a graduate assistant. If you look at the team picture that year, he was, and it shows all the coaches seniority to the lowest seniority, highest seniority. Mike Shanahan was the last guy on the bench. He was the last one, and he was the backup receiver. He was a quarterback in college, and he would throw balls to us. Pretty much he was just learning the game, and he was actually the dorm advisor. He was the RA for the dorm, the football dorm, which wasn't an easy place to work as an RA. But we had loved working with Coach Shanahan and seeing the great success as he built from there, and decided to see this coaching thing's pretty good. He have a pretty good run with the Denver Broncos, a couple of Super Bowls, and ended up with the Redskins. Didn't do as well there, but he's a great coach and a great man. So
that had to be a heck of a choice for you to choose between Texas and Oklahoma.
Amongst
others maybe.
Had some other schools. A lot of schools I got recruited by, and actually my last school I visited was Brigham Young University. I was a member of the LDS Church, so Church Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. So I got recruited by Brigham Young, and I went out there. This is February of 1972.
Was Lavelle there then?
And matter of fact, there was a brand new coach that was hired the day before I got there. And that was Lavelle Edwards.
Okay.
I've heard of that guy too.
Oh, no, I said, new coach? What? They're not going to make it. I better stick with Oklahoma. I'd signed a conference letter of intent with Oklahoma, and then ended up signing a national letter of intent.
Probably at BYU, you'd have received a few more passes.
A few more passes there. In fact, I saw in the stands today, Lavelle Edwards' son is here in the stands. Coach Edwards, Matt Edwards' father is here with his family, so it's great to see him visiting here and being part of this, being part of the game today. So
I want to get your perspective a little bit. You kind of have this unique blend of a lot of football experience, having been here a long time, but also looking at things from the admissions side. We just sit in here and we get to see how guys play on the football field and everything. But I feel like you get more experience with the actual players themselves, the caliber of person that they are. Can you speak a little bit about that and maybe how that's changed over the years as well?
Yeah, I mean, our admissions process has gotten a lot more refined and much more selective, of who we are recruiting to not just play at the university but go to school. And so we look at these players very closely and make sure they've got good academics. They're a transfer student from another college. We look at their transcripts very closely. Their high school transcripts. They've got to take an ACT or an SAT test in high school to qualify to come here, and we've got high standards. So we want to look at not just the athlete, but the student athlete, and how they can perform in the classroom as well. So we work closely with the coaching staff, and they've been recruiting some great student athletes here that have come here to the university. They're doing very well in the classroom. So we're excited about that.
I think Coach DuPay was telling us last week that 50% of the players have a 3.0 or better.
Oh yeah, no, they're doing very well. This coaching staff is great, and they're high on academics, and they're doing a great thing. We have mandatory study hall that these players are required to go to during the week, and all of our athletes at the university. So make sure they get off to a good start, especially those new students that are here, those athletes, and make sure that they're doing well in the classroom. So doing a great job.
Yeah, Coach Pay was telling us about the academic game plan that they do every day as well, making sure they have a contact with the players, talking about planning for the future and making sure that everything in the classroom is getting done, everything in their life is getting done. And I think you can pair that a lot with what he's talking about in the pregame video that we showed with him. He said, the points, the score is a lie. That's not the most important thing. It's that we're hitting our milestones. It's that we're improving. And I think you can. I think if you would ask him, he would say, football in general is a lie as well. Like, it's not the end is not football. The end is developing as a person, as a man, being part of a team, being part of a family. And I think that's a big thing for him as well. So not just the classroom, not just the field, but really developing as men.
Absolutely, and that's what they're stressing, and it's great because, I don't think very many of these players are going to play in the NFL. So maybe one or two, possibly, right? They have a chance. But the fact is, they're all going to be working, hopefully when they leave here. So we want to prepare them for that. And whether it's going on to graduate school or getting a great job out there in the job field, and we want to make sure that they're able to be good citizens and good that contribute to the community and to the workplace.
Hey, for those watching the webcast today, the high schoolers or the parents of high schoolers, what advice would you have for those folks maybe a year or two down the road making the transition from high school to college?
Well, I think that let's start with the academics. You're not going to play anywhere unless you have good grades. So you've got to work hard in the classroom, and that's the most important thing. As far as going to high school, or if you're first year of college looking to transfer. But the parents need to make sure that they're doing well and be a part of that of their kids' academics, and obviously they got to work hard in the field as well in preparation, and that's in the weight room, they're running, conditioning, and all that. Also, just knowing the game and opportunity if they have any summer camps they could go to would be great. So a lot of the high schools have those available to them. Or they can go on their own. I know that I was in high school and junior high school, went to summer camps on my own because I wanted to make sure I could get better and out there. So, but any opportunity to learn from experts in the field, like at these camps, is great too.
Well, speaking of work on the field, we can see the Knights have returned back to the field. We're going to cut away and take a 2.5-minute break and be back at the beginning of the second half with you. Thanks for being with us, Craig Lund.
Thanks for having me.
We'll get you on a broadcast here again in the future. I'm well. So stay with us, everybody. We'll be back for the second half of action here in about 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the fields at Southern Virginia University. Jim Bresnahan joined by Art Fuller. It's 13-3 as we start the second half. Southern Virginia on top of William Paterson at the homecoming game. And Art, we've got the stats from halftime, and the big stat that leaps out at you would be obviously William Paterson's turnovers.
Yeah, there's a few key ones in here. Turnovers certainly the name of the game. We keep mentioning Coach DuPay, that is his primary focus. Also, total combined offensive yards, 188. This is a defensive beauty. Both teams struggling a little bit on offense.
And now we'll see if the Knights can take it right down the field here to start the third quarter and maybe extend this 13-3 lead. Good return by Morgan Smith. He's to the 40 and gets across the 40. So the Knights offense going to have excellent field position to work with in this opening drive of the second half.
Yeah, a difficult short end-over-end kick, but fielded well and immediately got upfield with it. That's what you want to see is once you catch that ball, you know, you can. It'll take you a minute to figure out where you want to go, but figure it out while you're on the way. Don't sit there and wait for something to open up. Create a gap. Great job on special teams again for the Knights.
Yeah, they talk about the value of going north and south, not east and west.
Absolutely.
Well, this would be key, Art, if the Knights could go right down the field and take this lead up at 20-3.
Yeah, it's all about how much you can bury the other guys, how many possessions, how many scores they need.
Ty Jones pitches the ball to Sullivan around the end, and it's going to be a short gain up to around the 44. He dove ahead for an extra yard.
Yeah, not a whole lot on that one. The Knights start with good field position, and we've talked about that winning the field position game, so they don't need a whole lot to where they could punt it away and still pin William Paterson back deep, but of course that's not what they're thinking about right now. They are thinking drives, first downs, and points.
And they would love, I'm sure, these drives to really chew up some clock here in the second half.
Yeah, the clock has been the Knights' enemy in games where they've kept it close, but the later it goes, the tighter that window is, but now it's their friend.
Second down play, straight up the middle. Good gain up to around almost the 48-yard line. And that was Michael Fry. And so the Knights are looking at third down, probably a passing situation. Third down, about 6 to go.
And if you do keep getting those first downs, how important that is, because this offense is designed to chew up clock. I mean, that's not its goal, but boy, when you're talking about keeping it on the ground a lot, short gains, that's exactly what it'll do if run well.
And this is new territory for the Knights, as you mentioned. Not since the Earlham game have they had a lead in the second half. Ty Jones pitches the ball.
Good block.
And a first down and more down the sidelines. All the way, the ball
Ball's
pops
out.
out, but it's going to roll out of bounds. As Noah Lahi got a great gain down the sidelines. A huge play by the Knights offensively. Ball rolls out of bounds, and the Knights are in business.
Yeah, then the Knights, if you're a coach, though, every single time that ball pops out, your heart is in your stomach. Luckily, the bounce sent it out of bounds there. Great job by the offense moving it down the field, but you've got to take care of that football. The turnover giveth and the turnover taketh away. It's helped them out so far, but they cannot give it back.
Knights trying to extend this lead. Ty Jones fumbled the snap from center. Looks like he was hopefully able to dive on top of that ball. Looks like he's got it at the 19-yard line, and it's going to bring up second down and 10. So the Knights almost lost that one, but Jones alertly getting on top of it.
Yeah, you want to be excited. You should be excited. That adrenaline can certainly help you out, but you've got to be smart about it. The most important thing is do not give away that football.
Got to be thinking 6 points here, too. This would really be something if the Knights could put it in the end zone and jump this lead all the way to 17.
Absolutely.
Second down, 9, 19-yard line. See if they throw here. Jones wants to throw.
They do.
Fires over the head of the receiver. Almost intercepted, then almost picked up by Harris.
Yeah.
After the defender, Moran, missed the interception.
That was a heads-up play by Harris, not giving up on it after it was tipped by the defender. Almost intercepted, like you said, but good job on his part.
Flag, too.
Yeah, there's a flag on the field.
See what the call is here. They'll decline that, I would think.
They're
Yep,
taking
they're
it.
going to take it, yep.
Yeah, that's a difficult situation. You know, third and second and long is bad. Second and longer versus third and the same. It's one of those calls that you would think are pretty interchangeable, but it can go one way or the other. It'll be interesting to see as this plays out whether that's a significant decision.
See what the Knights do here on a second down. Straight up the middle, playing it safe. Up the middle, down to the 20-yard line goes the running back, Hansen. So now the Knights are looking at third down, almost 10 to go, around the 20-yard line.
Got Paul Tobias coming out. This is not good. We do have an injured player down for Southern
Spencer
Virginia.
Butler is, I believe, one of the offensive linemen.
So, yeah, it looks like the decision to accept that penalty will likely not make a huge difference one way or the other, as the gain is relatively the same. It looks like it was actually a smart call. There's a couple of yards back the other direction as Coach DuPay comes out to check on his player. No matter how this works out, a good offensive drive for Southern Virginia to start off. It was more effective than the drive they had in their first possession of the first half.
Yeah, even if they don't get points, they've changed the field position situation, but the 20-yard line, right now it'd be a long field goal, about a 37-yarder.
Yeah, it'll keep it right in the zone where you've got a reasonable chance at a field goal.
Good to see Spencer get up.
Walking gingerly, but under his own power.
On this 3rd and 10 play, Art, you don't have to get all 10 yards. If you can pick up 7 or 8 and get a 4th and short, then you make your field goal try a little shorter, obviously, but you also have a viable 4th down to attempt.
Yeah, it may very well be 4-down territory. The defense has shown up so well for Southern Virginia, forcing turnovers and also just getting stops. They may decide to just go for it, but we've got 1 down before that to see what they decide to do.
See if Ty drops to throw or maybe runs that option again.
Not particularly deep at the off difference.
Option to the right. Sullivan nowhere to go, and he'll lose yardage back to the 22. Now it would be about a 39, almost a 40-yard field goal attempt if they go for 3.
Yeah, it's now it's the question of do you go for it on 4th and give up potentially a pretty darn good field position, or you could very well decide to go the other way and just kind of do the short punt and stick them back very deep. But it looks like the Knights are trusting in their defense and are going to go for it. 4th and 13.
Thinking that a 40-yard field goal might just be out of the range, so no sense obviously to punt. So they're going to go for it, and the only question is what play will they call? Jones pitches. There's that reverse. They were telling us about. And it's going to be a big gainer all the way down to the 5, down to the 4-yard line goes Joshua Christopher. Well, the coach told us about on Friday, if number 19 comes in the game, Joshua Christopher, look out for that play.
Yeah, as soon as he came in the huddle, I was like, oh, don't say it. The perfect play at the perfect time. Wow, 4th and 13 converting now. That's, as we talked about key statistics that we saw in the first half, I believe that now makes the Knights 2 for 2 on 4th down today.
And Mola is the running back on 1st and goal from the 4. They pitch it to Simi. He tries to get outside, and he can't get there. He's going to be gang tackled for a loss back around the 7 or 8.
Yeah, that I don't think that really features his skill set. He's more of a
driving straight ahead.
Yeah, he's and he focuses on power rather than speed. So having him cut to the outside, I don't think was the best call. But looks like there's a timeout called as well. Still
recall the Wesley game, Art, when he ran over 4 or 5 Wesley players on the punt situation. He bobbled the punt, and then it looked like he was not going to be able to pick up a first down, and he came within a couple of yards of picking up the first down by basically running over people.
Yes, certainly has a lot of strength there at the power position, and that's the benefit of having different backs as well. You know, the A back, the B back, and we'll see which they go to here.
From the 7-yard line, straight up the middle, back down to the 5. Knights pick up a couple. That is Hansen. Now it is 3rd and goal from the 5. You're close enough now, it's almost an extra point as far as a field goal is concerned, but the Knights again, have the option of trying maybe on 4th down. They've got 5 yards to cover.
Yeah, this is where understanding the situation of the game helps you a lot as well. So being up 10, if you get a field goal and you're up 6, the only thing that helps you with, it's still a 2-score game. So it helps you if the other team is held to a field goal on another possession. But if not, being up 13 doesn't help you a whole lot.
From the 6, Jones runs the option left side, pitches the ball to Lakeith Hopkins. He'll be hit for a loss back at the 7. So from here, it would be about a 24-yard field goal.
Yeah, there's been a little, after a few of these plays, both Southern Virginia and William Paterson have gotten a little chatty. A penalty in a situation like this would be tragic. So the Knights have got to keep their heads. And now 4th and goal.
Looks like they're going to go for the field goal. Horman is on. This would give the Knights a 13-point lead. Be a 25-yarder. Smith the holder. Horman trying to nail a very important 3-pointer.
Not a great hold.
And
No
he
good.
missed it to the right.
I should say not a great snap, which turned into not a great hold. Just cut it to the right.
Well, the Knights had it to 1st and goal, not able to get into the end zone. And as a result, they missed the field goal.
Yeah, well, it's still the positional battle, I think, was won in that scenario. They were able to move the ball down the field. There were a couple of times along the way, especially with that 4th down, where it looked very bad. It looked like they weren't going to come away with anything. And you may say points-wise they still didn't, but starting the other team at the 20-yard line is a win in itself.
Took off almost 6 minutes off the clock, too. Now William Paterson's offense is onto the field, and they're going to go to the ground game. And the Knights are going to knock down the ball carrier for no gain.
Yeah, wrapping up, hitting hard, Ty Clegg in there.
Garcia as well.
Too many names on this defense to cover them all. Just stepping up, working hard, and that's a great sign as well. When you've got so many guys that are all making big plays, you can tell they're buying into this as a unit. This is not as I mentioned in the first half, this is not superstar football. This is everybody doing their job and winning as a team.
New quarterback out there is James Waldron. He's going to throw up the right sideline, and is tipped
Beautiful.
away. Tipped away by Christopher again, who made the play. Hit the ground hard, but he's up.
Boy, you cannot play that any better. Read the eyes of the receiver, look back at the right time, extends, tips it away. Man.
And so now it's 3rd down, about 9.5 to go, as Christopher will come out of the game for the time being.
It looked like he may have landed on that wrist, which he's got taped up to begin with.
This is a big play here. If the Knights can hold, they should get the ball back in good field position. Waldron wants to throw, fires, got his receiver on a slant, and it looks like it may be enough for a 1st down across the 30.
Yeah, good coverage that time by Orem. Able to get him as soon as he makes the catch, but it's so difficult on that slant pattern. You pretty much have to decide very early if you're going to try to jump the route and try for the interception or get beat long. And this was kind of the bend not break version of the defense, where they say, okay, if he's going to catch it, that's fine. He's not going to get yards after the catch.
DeMarcico making the catch. 1st down, Pioneers, 31 of William Paterson. Waldron looking to throw again up the right side, and it's off the hands of a receiver. He was trying to hit Maldonado, but Malcolm Robinson was in the same area, too. You had 2 receivers within 2 yards of each other.
Yeah, you never want that. You may see that in backyard football, but you certainly never want to see that in anything higher level than that, because if you've got 2 receivers in the area, you've got 2 defenders in the area that could contribute as well.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if one of those receivers was supposed to maybe do basically stop his pattern for a short pass.
Yeah, one way or the other, that is unlikely that's how it was supposed to turn out, and that's exactly why. You get too many bodies in the area, it makes it a lot more difficult to make the catch.
Now 2nd and 10 for Waldron.
Good collapse of the pocket.
He is hit and dragged down. That is, again,
Skylar Cloward,
the freshman.
We've called that name a lot this year, and boy, he he just finds ways to get into that backfield. This defensive line is just pushing so hard, just causing fits to the point where now even the backup quarterback for the Pioneers struggling to find some room to run with.
Waldron is more of the passing quarterback. He had 88 attempts coming in, throwing the ball to Diaz-May, 73. Also a big kid, 6'3". And he's looking at 3rd and long. The Knights want to make sure nothing is completed now on a 3rd down and almost 19 to go. And we may have a delay of game. Yep, I think that's going to be the call. Looks like it may be a 5-yarder. Delay of game, the call against William Paterson.
Well, to be honest, if you're going to get a delay of game on a 3rd down, it's probably better to get it on a 3rd and 19 than on a 3rd and 1. If you're going to get 19, you're probably going to get 24. You never know. But, man, the wheels just starting to come off a little bit offensively for William Paterson, and the Knights defense just feeding off of that energy.
Yeah, in the first half, they controlled the clock. They had the ball for over 18 minutes, but they had 3 turnovers, and now they're making a few mistakes here in the 3rd quarter.
Pressure again.
Waldron got it away, but he threw it short, maybe because of that pressure, and it forces William Paterson into a punting situation. And Art, the Knights ought to get the ball back for the offense in pretty good shape.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you mentioned that kind of difference. Waldron more the passing quarterback. I can understand the shift for William Paterson to put him in. The running game hasn't been faring particularly well, but boy, it looks like, at least from what we've seen so far, Diaz-Mays is more versatile at the quarterback position, and more Waldron's the pocket passer, and that pocket is collapsing every single play. He's going to have a really difficult time if he doesn't have the ability to scramble.
Well, we'll see who the Pioneers go to in their next series for the quarterback position.
Long
nice
kick.
Punt over the head of Morgan Smith. Grabs it, though. Starts upfield. 45, 50, and he's into William Paterson territory at the 45-yard line.
What a good return on what looked like a very difficult punt to field. It was long. He had to kind of back up for it and then drift off to the side. But even there on the sideline, good kick, but a better return.
Yeah, that's one of those where you're looking at him trying to grab it over his shoulder thinking, just catch it.
Yeah. Well, and the Knights, we've seen them in the past when they've had a difficult time getting punts, just catching it and go to the ground with it. Because job one is securing the football. But if you're able to get that in stride and gain more yards, even better. Remember, the Knights don't have to score points. They just have to chew up clock and keep the field position going.
Fry gets it right up the middle. He gets close to the 46.
They'll be perfectly happy to have a steady diet of a variety of running backs up the middle as another Knight player is down. And that's it's going to be a timeout as he's assessed. But then the Knights are
That's
perfect.
Fry.
The Knights are perfectly happy to keep the ball on the ground, move it upfield, little by little, burn clock with every single play.
Yeah, they're checking him out to make sure. That opening series by the Knights took over 6 minutes off the clock. They'd love to have a repeat of that now. Get it, basically maybe take up the rest of the 3rd quarter and get a score out of it.
Yeah, anything you can do that culminates in points is good. When you've got a lead, anything you can do that takes up a lot of time and ends in points is better. So chewing up clock is a victory of its own. Changing that field position is a victory in its own. Scoring points is a victory. So, of course, you can only get 2 out of the 3 because you can't change the field on them and put it in the end zone. And there's a clear preference between those as to which you'd take. But, boy, any combination of those will be great for the Knights right now.
So Michael Fry got a couple. Comes off the field. He is really a workhorse. Hansen's out there now at the tailback position.
Yeah, it's a lot of contributing factors in the backfield for the Knights. A lot of guys stepping up, maybe stepping into roles that they were not originally expecting to based on health and situation.
Ty Jones wants to throw.
Tipped.
And it's knocked away and almost picked off. Making the defensive play was Nick Freeman, a linebacker, senior linebacker from New Jersey.
Yeah, got a
little
big
scary there.
Yeah, big hand in the air. It was a smart read as well because in a lot of those situations, the outside linebacker there crashes down and tries to stop the run. The Knights have not come out throwing the ball a lot, but it was a good read that time by Freeman to stay at home, get a hand up, and break up the pass.
So 3rd and 8. Will the Knights play it safe and keep it on the ground or take a shot at the air here to get a first down. Up the middle. And
Short
Hanson
game, ball's on
lost
the deck.
the ball. And William Paterson recovers it.
We've talked about takeaways and the importance of fumbles and the importance of winning that turnover battle. Difficult situation there. The Knights with good field position.
That's really where you have to have two hands on that ball and really make sure. I know Hanson wanted to maybe struggle for a couple of extra yards, but he wasn't going to get the first down, and it looked like one of the Pioneers just ripped it out.
Yeah, job one. Do not give that football away, because even if you get stopped there, you punt it, you pin him back deep, it's that field position game that now you've given a huge advantage back to William Paterson. The defense is going to have to step up.
That's right. If you don't have that fumble, maybe you can pin them inside their 10-yard line. Instead, they're out at their 43 to start this drive.
Yep.
Waldron is going to stay at their quarterback.
Reverse.
It's going to be a double reverse to DiMarcico. He's got the end around 50, and he's out of bounds at the 48. Picks up some good yardage. Got about 9 on that carry.
Yeah, you could tell. You can read that very early and see that route from the receiver at the bottom of your screen. As soon as he cuts back, it's pretty clear where that's going. And I think that might be Coach Jerry Flores saying, "Oh, you've got a reverse in your playbook, huh? We've got one in ours too." And
that was a double reverse too.
Yeah, worked out well for each team so far.
48-yard line of the 9.
2nd and 1, offensive coordinator's dream.
That 6'3" quarterback is still out there, and he's going to run the ball now. It is Waldron getting the first down. Ran over Christopher. Christopher makes the tackle, but not before the quarterback got the first down to the 44-yard line.
Yeah, and I have to imagine, we've talked about the Knights feeling confident, the Knights being happy with the situation of the game right now, and while that's very true, it's also very fragile. You've lost a lot. You've had some tough games. You can really feel that slip away quickly. So the Knights are going to have to stay on top of this, not give anything away here, and stay tight defensively, or that confidence could be broken.
Defense needs to make another stand as Waldron wants to throw. Here comes the pressure. And he fires it up for grabs, and it's incomplete. He was trying to hit DiMarcico. There were 2 or 3 defenders around there. DiMarcico was the only one who really had his hands on it, and the Knights were putting pressure. Mahe was coming after the quarterback.
Yeah, it kind of just floated that out there. It seemed like a relatively easy pass to catch. DiMarcico, for whatever reason, not able to come down with it. But again, that pressure defensively, it's a scramble. This is not what we're used to seeing, in football traditionally, where you've got a pocket, you've got time, you're working through your progression. This is, trying to stay alive.
2nd down coming up here. Knights will come after the quarterback again. Over the middle, intercepted by the Knights. That was Callens coming across and cutting in front of the receiver to make the interception.
Tyler Callens, we've talked a lot about some people shifting into positions that they're not traditionally used to. Tyler Callens, listed as a freshman running back out of Houston, Texas, shifted over to defense recently to make some adjustments for other people. In the right place at the right time, and to have somebody come over from a running back position with soft enough hands, read the play, get the interception. What a shift again. And this attrition, this back and forth is just fine for the Knights. They'd love to, again, chew up some clock and move it down, but boy, what a big stop.
4th turnover on the William Paterson Pioneers. They have 2 fumbles lost and now 2 interceptions.
False start, sounds like going to be the call.
5-yarder against the Knights. We'll back them up 5 yards, 1st and 15. So the turnovers are just killing William Paterson right now.
Yeah, and that's why it's written on Coach DuPay's whiteboard. That's why they talk about it in football so much, because that one play can make such a shift in the game. Winning that turnover battle, I'd love to see the statistics about winning the turnover battle versus winning games, because if you're +1 or +2, it's a really good chance you're going to win the football game.
Jones kept the ball that time of the option. He pays for it with about a 4-yard loss back to the 15-yard line. Going to make it 2nd down and long coming up here for the Knights.
I have to imagine the percentage, if you're +3 or more on turnovers for winning games, has got to be staggering. I'm thinking 90% or more. But it's such a critical thing. However, the offense has got to get going as well. They've got to move that ball a little bit before they send it back, or they risk giving William Paterson good field position.
Second down, almost 20 to go. Jones drops to throw. Fires, got his receiver, Harris, in and out of his hands, incomplete. Would have been a gain up to the 26-yard line, but John Harris couldn't hang on.
Yeah, just kind of low to the ground. And John Harris is low to the ground to start with, so if you're going,
yeah, he didn't have to dive too far to get that one.
Yeah, if you're going at his feet, then you're really low on the pass. Very difficult situation. Third down now.
Would have been nice positive yardage there. Maybe turned it into a third down about 8 to go. Now it's 3rd and 19. Knights from their own 15-yard line.
Yeah, that incomplete pass again stops the clock. Not what the Knights want to do.
And here comes the pressure. Shovel pass to Nailahi. And he is wrestled to the turf. Now, was there a face mask? Don't see any penalty flags. Looked like in that face mask area.
Yeah.
But no penalty flags are thrown, and so the Knights are going to have to punt the football.
I'm no expert, but that tackle on the end there, I'm pretty sure I saw on a commercial for a professional wrestling event not too long ago.
Yeah, it was a good takedown.
Yeah.
Depending, of course, on what side you're on.
Right. But they did get a few yards on that. You could say that was the play they ran earlier that was not executed well. In that case, it is. There's the punt.
Fernandez trying to return this one. Makes the fair catch instead of the 45-yard line. So the Pioneers have good position, their own 45-yard line, and they still have just under 4 minutes left to work with here in the third period.
Yeah, it's been pretty consistent so far this quarter. It's been William Paterson starts with good field position. They move the ball a little bit, and then they turn the ball over. Something happens. It goes back to Southern Virginia. Southern Virginia's offense has kind of sputtered along, not too successfully, and then they punt back and forth. But the longer that takes, the more it favors the Knights.
Yeah, the Knights did have a 1st and goal inside the 5. They've today missed a field goal, missed an extra point. Waldron staying out there, quarterback, makes the completion, hits his receiver. Making the catch is Henry.
That was one of the best performances by William Paterson's offensive line that we've seen so far today. That pocket held, didn't have to particularly long, but it held long enough that there was no one coming through that pressure, not nearly felt as much by Waldron.
So Vivian makes the catch, and it's a 1st down for William Paterson at the 42 of the Knights.
Low snap.
Waldron will try the left side this time. He has DiMarcico, made a nice move. And then the ball pops loose. He was trying for extra yardage. The ball popped loose. The Knights have it. That is Cloward, and he brings it into William Paterson territory. DiMarcico was trying for extra yardage. He got away from Burcham once. Then Burcham caught up with him. So I'm not exactly sure, Art, who poked the ball loose, but the Knights are able to pick it up and go.
So I'm going to let you in on a little secret, Jim. My mom is a big Southern Virginia football fan, and after every game, she picks a couple of players that did particularly well and bakes cookies for them the following week. Skylar Clower is going to be getting some cookies this week, I can tell you that.
No doubt about it. How come she doesn't cook for the webcasters?
It's a good question. I'll have to ask her.
Another turnover for William Paterson. And up the middle, good gain for the Knights. That's Hanson, all the way close to the 35, almost the 34-yard line. So 3 fumbles lost, 2 interceptions now by William Paterson, 5 total turnovers.
Yeah, and a partridge in a pear tree. I guess we're a couple months early for that. But, yeah, just turnovers. This accentuates that point so much. This game would be in a very different position if not for 5 turnovers, and the Knights just not giving it back.
Coach DePay wants his offense to take advantage of this latest turnover and really extend this lead. It was a 10-point lead right now. Jones on the fake.
Big
takes
gap.
It. 25, 10, 5, touchdown Knights.
The Southern Virginia faithful have to be so excited watching this game. Ty Jones with a huge hole. Again, credit to the offensive line for opening that up for him.
Pretty good fake, too, by Ty Jones making the fake Art, where it's allowed it looked like the defense was all over the ball carrier. He just left Jones completely free.
Absolutely true. That was a big enough hole Ty Jones could have driven through it.
Now Horman will try to add the extra point. And
fake. Unintentionally, maybe.
Morgan Smith, does he have anybody to throw to? He wings it towards the end zone. And it looks like William Paterson had it. Yeah, it looked like he just couldn't get that ball down. I don't think that was a fake per se.
Yeah.
But so maybe the conversions aren't going too well right now for the Knights, but the offense and defense playing very well together, and they've got a 16-point lead, although that was a big miss there, the failure to convert because it remains a two-score game.
Yeah, the reps between the kicker and the holder and the snapper are so important. And frankly, in a game or in a situation throughout the season where you're not scoring a lot of points, that's not really a point of emphasis so much. If you're not called on to kick a whole lot, you may feel like that's not that important, and you focus. There's so many aspects of the game to focus on, but man, that one it started to be an issue for the Knights. You've seen each kick today has kind of struggled because of a struggle between the holder and the snapper.
Still, the Knights have a 16-point lead now, 19-3.
Technically 2 possessions, like you said, but at this point, it looks like 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions will be a tall order for William Paterson.
And obviously the clock is becoming a factor now as we're under 3 minutes to go left here in the third quarter. So the Knights are just about 18 minutes away from victory.
Yeah, it's that difficult thing where it's like on the one hand, you really want the time to run out quickly so you get the win, but also you kind of want to let it go slow. You want to enjoy this winning rush that's going on.
And it's been since game 1 here in the second half, Art, that the Knights have actually played with a lead.
Yeah, and certainly one of this size. I don't know that they led Earlham by this much, even when they played that in their first game of the season. Well deserved.
Nice high kickoff, but short. Fielded by the Pioneers. Fernandez brings it back to the 40, and there is a flag down, so maybe this will be coming back because of a blocking penalty as Morgan Smith went ahead and made the tackle. See if this is a blocking penalty, which would push William Paterson a little further back.
Yeah, when there's a gap that big, sometimes there's a reason besides good blocking.
Yep, going to be a hold.
And William Paterson just can't catch a break.
Well, with the turnovers and the penalties, basically shooting themselves in the foot. And they just have the one field goal, and that came on the very first series of the football game. They've been blank since then.
Yeah, and it's deja vu, but in reverse, I guess. Last week we were talking all game long about penalties and turnovers and how they were killing the Knights and how it would be so close or such a different situation without it. Well, this is that in the reverse. This is what Coach DuPay has talked about, knowing what it takes to win a football game. Getting 5 turnovers helps.
They're going to go with the passing quarterback, Waldron, again on this series, almost half down by 16 points, and he hits DiMarcico for the completion.
Well, and it's an adjustment by William Paterson as well offensively. You can tell they're not looking for these long routes. This is like 3-step drop, quick shot football. It looks like they found some holes in the Knights defense that will exploit, and it's been working well for them in these last couple of drives.
See if the Knights can come up with maybe another big turnover, an interception perhaps, as they go to the ground game. Short gain this time. It turns into about a 5-yard pickup. Moala was there as Henry coming across made the carry.
Yeah, Marcos Garcia as well. You can smell you can see the Knights smell blood in the water now. They're every single time they're going at a guy with a football, they're hammering at the ball. They're trying to strip it away. They know that that's an area of emphasis for William Paterson that they've been able to exploit so far. They're going to be coming after that for a fumble or a pick every play.
Also, they'd like to get a quarterback sack as the ball comes down the left sidelines, and it is complete. DiMarcico is able to hang on for the touchdown.
Bobbled, caught again.
Coverage down there by Neil Davis and Burcham, but not until DiMarsica was able to grab it, bobble it, and then hold on to it as he crossed into the end zone for the touchdown to make it 19-9.
And you have to imagine that
Now, looks like maybe William Paterson's got a chance here, Art, to go for 2 and pull with an 8.
Yeah, you would think they would. You get in the end zone, you can cut it to a single score.
See what they decide to do. Looks like they're going to go for 2.
They have been able to get short yards fairly regularly.
And Waldron will try to carry it into the end zone.
And he does.
And he does. It is 19-11.
Well, and that's why I said that really can be fragile. You have to be very careful and know what's going on, where things are going trajectory-wise in this game. And so William Paterson scoring a touchdown, as you mentioned, the field goal they had was the very first drive of the game. This is their first points in a while, and so if you're the Knights, you have to come out and respond. A one-score lead is always going to be fragile. So they've got to put some more points on the board to extend that a little bit, to give themselves just a little bit of a cushion.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people would say right now it's on the defense to hold this lead. Well, maybe it's also on the offense to extend the lead and really put this game out of reach.
Yeah, lest we forget, one of the scores here is actually from the defense as well. You can credit them with a lot for takeaways.
They have had 5 takeaways today. So the Pioneers have pulled back to within 8 after being down by 16.
Kickoff return again, something the Knights have done well at. They've gotten some good field position today. They would love to get another big return.
Caden Knight, Morgan Smith, deep return man.
Just take it away from the offense. Just take it all the way to the house now.
That would be nice. And it's going to be Morgan Smith. Had a good return earlier, and this time he gets close to the 30-yard line before he is wrestled to the turf by Dante Dean. And so the Knights offense back on the field at their own 30-yard line.
Yeah, not a bad starting field position. The Knights have had better and not come up with points, though, so we'll have to see if they're able to put together a drive. They also haven't had a drive this half that's really chewed up a lot of time for them, so we'll have to see if they're able to do that as well.
Opening drive took like 5 to 6 minutes off the clock, but since then they haven't been able to do a whole lot with the football, and this is the time to really chew up maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes off the clock.
Yeah, I've got to string together some first downs.
Jones almost lost that ball, got it over to Harris, who ends up picking up about 4.
Yeah, because of that delay in the backfield, it was difficult. Malachi on the outside there trying to block his man, was able to do so for a second, but not engage him long enough to break a hole.
Well, here's where you just need that kind of gain, a 4-yard pickup to really pick up 2 or 3 or 4 first downs. They'd love to score off this, Art, but if nothing else, they want to get 3 or 4 first downs and run as much clock off of the time as is possible.
Clock and field position at a minimum.
Handoff straight up the middle, nothing much that time, maybe a half yard to a yard at best.
Well, and you can see William Paterson's defense starting to gain in confidence as well. They can feel that they're back in this game. They saw the offense put points up. They know that this is far from over. This is 30 seconds left in the third quarter, not the game. And so they're going to start coming alive as well. You've got to keep them beaten down, keep them remembering that you're on your home turf, that this is homecoming, that you're winning, and that you're planning on going away with a victory.
3rd and 5. Up the middle, looks like Jones may have a first down at the 40-yard line. Ty Jones keeping it, and I think he got across the 40 for the first down. We'll see.
That should round out the quarter if that's the case. And that will be the end of the third quarter. The Knights leading 19-11. Still a lead of 8, but a little more tenuous as William Paterson able to move down the field on that last offensive drive. So cautiously optimistic, I think, is probably the appropriate term right now.
And maybe a big play coming up here to start the fourth quarter.
They didn't get the first down. It's 4th and 1.
Yeah. Short. Got to be less than a yard. Now a big decision here as they actually mark him not across the 40, but just before the 40-yard line.
Yeah, the Knights 2 for 2 on 4th down so far today, including that big 4th and 13 where they pulled the reverse out. But boy, if you get this, it's such a momentum shift in your favor. You keep the drive alive, you extend down, but if you don't, you give really good field position to a William Paterson offense that is just starting to get going and scored on that last drive.
If you go for it here, Art, the safest play with a good running quarterback like Ty Jones, I would imagine, is to go under center and run straight ahead, because I don't think you need but inches here.
Yeah.
But needless to say, if you don't get it, you're taking a real chance because it's on your side of the 50-yard line.
Yeah, that quick count can be your friend as well. William Paterson, as this defense really gets excited into it, you may very well be able to catch them jumping off sides, being a little over-eager as well.
Well, Coach DuPay throughout the game today has shown his confidence in his offensive line, so we'll see if they go for it and exactly what the call might be. Looks like the Knights will go for it. Nope, they're going to punt, play it safe, and kick it away.
Or are they? Always have to leave that possibility out there.
No doubt about it. And they're going to go ahead and kick. Hansen will boot it upfield.
Good long kick.
Good coverage downfield. William Paterson will go on offense at their own 19-yard line.
As we transition again, a good opportunity to remind you about gear.svu.edu, the newest and best source for all Southern Virginia official gear. All orders guaranteed to ship within 24 hours, offering everything from casual wear, tailgating equipment, office supplies, hunting clothing, infant clothing, and so forth. You name it, they've got it, gear.svu.edu.
Coach DuPay was playing the field position game. Rather than risk a fourth down turnover at the 40-yard line, he forces William Paterson to start at the 19-yard line, their own 19.
Well, if nothing else, I think that sends the message to the team that he's not panicking. He's trusting, the defense. They've carried him all season long, giving him an opportunity to do so again now.
Waldron, the more throwing quarterback, is out there again, and he wants to throw, and he's hit. He got away. And scrambles back to the line of scrimmage of the 19-yard line before he is wrestled to the turf by Orem, who's playing a heck of a game too.
Yeah, maybe not the most dynamic quarterback. He's really been accurate today, and when he's had a pocket, he's done very well. Some penetration that time, throwing him off just a little bit. And again, if he's taking that long and not throwing the football, credit to the secondary for holding up well enough that you're not giving him any option.
Knights trying to get a big defensive stop with an 8-point lead here in the fourth quarter. And Waldron fires. It was going to be a slant, but he threw it at the feet of his intended receiver, DiMarcico, and now it is 3rd and 10 to go.
Yeah, the Knights really starting to look to jump those routes as well. Marcos Garcia sniffing that one out, trying to jump. Would love to get a pick six, especially this close to the end zone. That's a viable option. But they've got to be careful not to get beat on the big play. So now 3rd and 10. It's a long way to go.
And if you're thinking field position, this is the moment to stop them. Would force them to punt, and the Knights offense should get it back in pretty good field position.
A lot of noise coming from that sideline, from the stands. The Knights faithful, knowing how big this is. They're going to throw.
Waldron is being pressured out of the pocket. He wings it way upfield for Marcico, and it's knocked away.
Intercepted.
No, it's picked off by Christopher. It was tipped away by one defender, and Christopher comes over and grabs it.
Boy, I'm excited, but I'm also worried about my mom. She's going to have to make a lot of cookies. There's a lot of folks contributing on this one. Christopher coming up with it there, the interception, which, let's be honest, that's probably about where you would get it from a punt on the next down anyway.
I was kind of surprised. It looked like the quarterback, Waldron, had some running room to maybe perhaps run for the 10 yards as opposed to winging it way upfield.
Well, and as you mentioned, Waldron, the more pass-throwing or throwing-centric quarterback, maybe just wasn't comfortable running it, maybe feeling a little bit of desperation, thought they needed the big play. Either way, not working out at all, and if nothing else, it's a big shift of excitement for the defense.
Bobbled ball on the option, but it's going to turn out to be a good gain as Phillips goes all the way to the 48-yard line. Brian Phillips coming over on the option, bobbled the pitch from Ty Jones, but hung on to the ball and ends up picking up outstanding yardage.
It comes up hobbled as well. Boy, that is, again, just terrifying to see the ball come in, bounce around. He is able to come down with it, and it's That's how football can go. You go from trepidation to elation very quickly. What could have been a turnover turns out to be a big play.
And by my count now, Art, the Pioneers have 6 turnovers.
That's my count as well.
48-yard line. That is Hanson getting free. 45, 43, 42, wrestled out of bounds. Thrown out of bounds, very close to being out of bounds, and then tossed to the ground.
Well, and this, I think, is where I know we're talking about very fine details, but this is where I think it's really important. Josh Christopher, you may be able to argue strategically, bat it down or whatever, but in that situation, that interception is a big momentum shift, and so it energizes the team. So now the offense feels like, okay, great, we can get out there and do this as well. You can see that momentum moving back.
First down, Knights, 41-yard line. Hanson again up the middle, 37-yard line. He picks up 4. Yeah, you got to figure, even though there's still over 12 minutes to go here, Art, you get a touchdown here. I'm not sure if it salts the game away, but it's very, very close.
Yeah, just keep your foot on the gas, especially the more time that they take up. You can tell the Knights not in a hurry, nor should they be. Just keep getting yards in chunks. These are plays that we're getting 1, 2, 3 yards in the first half. Now getting 3, 4, 5 as you wear that defense down.
And if you're getting 3, 4, 5 yards a crack, there's no sense to pass.
Nope. Yeah, there's no compelling reason to. Doesn't mean we won't.
They go to Hanson again. This time he maybe got a half yard to a yard. Got close to the 36 before he got shoved back.
And there's the flag. People have to keep their heads.
See if this is offsetting.
This is a very critical call. Either way.
Depends on who did what and if anybody responded.
Or if the first guy gets called to the second guy. You hear that a lot.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be offsetting.
Ooh,
That's basically a warning, I guess you could say, to both teams to settle down.
Yeah, but man, if you just think about it, offsetting is okay. But if you're the Knights and you don't offset that, you get a first down, fresh set, closer to the end zone. Big thing. If
you don't respond, if you were the responding party, then you get 15 yards the other way.
Yeah. Or if you're William Paterson and you don't get the call there, then even better. Now you've put them in a 3rd and 21. You got a long way to go. Whew.
Here we go. 3rd and 6. Could possibly be 4-down territory for the Knights from the 36-yard line. They have to get to the 30 to keep this drive going.
And
I would think this is going to be 4-down territory, Art, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to punt here. You could, obviously. Too far for a field goal, so it may be 2 plays to pick up 6 yards.
William Paterson, coach, pointing at the scoreboard. Sees something he doesn't like. Not sure if it's the time on the clock. Not sure if it's the down and distance, but he certainly is indicating that something on the scoreboard he's not okay with. It might be the fact that they're down by 8, but I don't think the referee is going to change that.
I don't think they can change that.
I don't know. I just think he slipped him a 20. So whatever it is, it was enough to justify a bit of a conversation about it.
See if they're going to change the time on the clock, maybe add anything to it. They're
12 minutes 11.
Basically 15 seconds to the clock. So here we go. Again, this may well be 4-down territory, so the Knights might have 2 cracks to get 6 yards. And we've got movement all over the place.
Yeah.
A little confusion on the Southern Virginia side of things. We'll see if this is a 5-yarder against them, which would be huge.
Well, and I guess they were trying to catch William Paterson off to line up in after that stoppage of play, trying to catch him off guard. But I don't know. I think knowing the situation of the game there as well, that you're trying to run time off, I'd be perfectly content to, not run it all the way down. You're not trying to ice the game, but giving an extra 4, 5, 6 seconds off the clock, why not?
Well, now if they don't pick up any yardage, they may go ahead and punt. They go to Malaw, just up the middle, and he got a yard inside the 40, down to the 39. So now looks like maybe the Knights will go ahead and punt it away here and try to pin William Paterson deep.
Yeah, getting a little sloppier on both sides of the football with penalties. You can tell it's wearing late in the game. We are in the fourth quarter. Folks start to get tired. Folks start to get frustrated. And we're going to have to see who's able to hold it together a little bit better for the next 11 and a half minutes.
The Knights offense not able to put it away, at least on that series, so it's up to the defense again to hold his 8-point lead.
Who knows? Maybe they'll just get another turnover.
They've had 6 already. Hansen waiting a while, punts it away. And it looks like it rolls out near the 1-yard line. There is a flag down. Boy, you hope this is not against the Knights with the ball going out at the 1 or 2 yard line.
A lot of hooting and hollering going on.
Boy, the Pioneers would really be hard pressed if they have to start this drive at their own 2.
Another very important call.
Looks like it may go against the Pioneers. We'll see. Looks like it's so.
Okay, so it is against the Pioneers, it looks like, though the referee was showing the Knights, but if it's half the distance to the goal, either that's a very short penalty against William Paterson.
Yeah, it makes them start at the 1 instead of the 2, which is even worse for them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If he's saying half the distance to the goal and it's on the Knights, they just got about a 45-yard penalty.
So now the Knights, they'd love to get the safety here, obviously, and extend this lead to 10.
Yeah, especially up 8. That makes it a 2-score game.
See what Waldron's going to do here. He's going to hand it off, and it's a good game for William Paterson all the way out to around the 7 or 8 yard line by the running back Henry.
Yeah, they do get a few out of it.
Looks like they've got at least 7 or 8 yards on that carry. Knights still have a chance here to hold without allowing a first down, and that would force William Paterson to punt from their own end zone. But on that play, they picked up about 7.
I'm not sure why the clock is stopped.
Referee's looking back at it too, and before that play starts.
Yeah, that should have been, I mean, that was a run play up the middle, no timeout. That should have been winding the whole time. The Knights certainly would like to see that happen.
The referees will just have to determine exactly what to put it at.
So saying 11:04 and start on the ready. Yeah, that and even that should have been going, I think, a little further.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too.
Normally, normally the Knights would love to see that time wind a little more slowly, but today with the lead in the fourth quarter, it cannot go fast enough.
Second down, about 2 to go. Waldron's going to throw, and he's got his receiver, and it's a first down. Pass was pulled in by Vivian, and the Pioneers got a first down out of it. They started this drive at their 1, and now they've got some breathing room.
Yeah, and breathing room is right. You have to wonder that obviously the Knights defense would have loved to get that safety, but also if you're going that hard, you free yourself up, or I should say you expose yourself to the long play. Perhaps the Knights deciding just to take it a little bit at a time.
21-yard line now for the Pioneers of William Paterson. They throw to the other side now. Pass is pulled in by Malcolm Robinson. He stutter steps for an extra yard and then goes down.
Yeah,
ends up being about a 7-yard pickup.
Wide open Robinson across the middle. He's run some really good routes. He's got some really sharp cuts. I wonder, he's had a couple of plays now where he's tried to create additional yards for himself, but has taken a lot of time to do so, which has given the Knights time to come back and collect. He looks like he's got the speed. I wonder if he shouldn't just keep going.
About a 7-yard gain that time, 28-yard line. They throw again, slant over to Robinson, and he makes the gain all the way up to the 47-yard line. And Neil Davis comes over and makes the tackle, but not before he gets to the 47-yard line. And suddenly, after starting this drive at the 1-yard line, Art, the Pioneers have moved it all the way out to their 47-yard line with plenty of time on the clock.
See, I shouldn't have said that. He heard me. It was exactly that same play, that quick slant, and just catching it in stride and just gunning it upfield.
Knights trying to make a defensive stand, hold on to this 8-point lead.
A lot of time left on the clock.
Waldron's going to throw again. He gets pressured. He got away, and he runs for first down all the way to the 40 of the Knights.
Oh, this defense has been called on a lot today. They've done so many good things, but they cannot stop now. 9 minutes left, and they've got to play every single one of them that they're called on to be on this field because this game is very, very much still in dispute.
Yeah, the Knights have missed a couple of conversions today, missed a field goal. So they've had a few points that maybe could be on the board but aren't. Ball at the 40-yard line. Waldron to throw again. Pressured. He goes down to the 50-yard line as Moloch came in and knocked him down. It almost looked like he got him with the face mask. I think it was just a little side swipe knocked down to the quarterback, basically.
Yeah, just flying in there. That's one of our big Tongans. More than happy to come in, stepping up when the Knights really need him to, just as I talk about the defense needing to play all the way through the end of the game. He's willing to step up and say, you got it.
Loss all the way back to the 50. Second down, almost 20 to go. Waldron's going to have to make some big completions. Knights know this. We'll have to play good pass coverage. It's going to be a quarterback draw. He slips and falls, basically, after picking up about 7. Close to the 43-yard line, so it should bring up third down, almost 12 to go.
Yeah, and it looks like, we started with Diaz Mays for the Pioneers, and he had a difficult time in the first half, and it looks like now this James Waldron transition is probably going to be where we're at for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
He's done, I think, probably a significantly better run in the offense. Coaching staff for the Pioneers like what they're seeing.
Has thrown the ball a little more accurately than Diaz Mays did. From the 44, third down, 13 to go.
Critical play.
Waldron fires to the right, and he makes the completion at the 28-yard or 29-yard line, looks like. That is going to be to DiMarcico, and it's going to be another first down, I believe.
Yeah, I wonder if the Knights are giving just a little bit too much respect. They obviously don't want to get beat deep. I mean, but you could not get beat deep by just standing on the goal line all day long. But you don't want to give too much of a cushion that they can chew up and get there easily. So it's really a delicate balance between preventing the short stuff and also not letting anything behind you.
Knights need that 7th turnover is what they need right now from the 29-yard line. They could use another interception. Waldron throws, incomplete.
And the flag
there
comes
is a flag, late flag, as they're going to say that Orem bumped the receiver. I'm not sure that was catchable,
yeah,
though.
I was just going to say that looked well behind him. That may very well but I try to give referees as much credit as I can. From the perspective of that particular judge, the back judge there, it did look reasonable. But no one's going to change his mind, so that's what I get for trying to give him, credit. That's a bad call.
The penalty moves it down to the 25-yard line and gives William Paterson a first down. If the Knights could hold here without allowing a touchdown, then the offense might have a chance to really put this game away with a drive that'll take some minutes off the clock. This could well be the last time William Paterson has the football. Who knows?
Well, I think it depends on how quickly they get this thing in the end zone as well. They've chewed up several minutes, I think about 4 minutes and change on this drive themselves, and they've still got a little bit to go.
Yeah, so if they were to take another minute or two off the clock and not score, then the Knights offense could conceivably come on and run that 5, 6, 7 minute drive and put this game away. But right now the Knights defense has to make some plays. And it's Malcolm Robinson in motion, and the quarterback keeps it. And it's going to be about a 5-yard pickup down to the 20 for Waldron.
So the last 2 or 3 times they've run out of that formation, they have given the ball on that end around. Now they wait till the Knights get used to that, switch it back, make it a quarterback keeper, and just as the defense shifts to the edge, there's a gap more in the middle, ends up picking up 5 yards.
Knights trying to hold on to their first New Jersey Athletic Conference victory of the season. Second down, 5 to go. 2 receivers over to the left, and Waldron fakes the screen, now fires, and Fernandez dove for it at the 12-yard line, and they signaled no catch.
Contact with the turf.
Brings up 3rd and 5, 4 down territory, so William Paterson's got 5 yards to go with 2 cracks to go. We also have a penalty flag down. Let's see if that's a flag or not at the
Roughing
30.
the passer. Ugh.
Ooh. Another big penalty against the Knights.
Automatic first down, lot of yards. Oh, goodness. Didn't see that myself. Don't know how justified it was. So I will give the referee the benefit of the doubt. But man, a huge call.
And now the ball's at the 10.
If there was ever a time for a 7th turnover, this would be it.
Yep, Waldron. Let's see if they keep it on the ground here now. It's Daniels Lundy up the middle, and he's inside the 5, close to the 4. Knights trying to make that big defensive stand to hold on to this lead. Now remember, the Pioneers, even if they get the ball in the end zone, they need a 2-point conversion to tie the game.
Well, but to that point, Jim, the Pioneers have not had much at all in the way of negative yards. They've not had much at all, or I should say in the way of negative plays. They've not had much at all in the way of only 1 or 2. They've been pretty consistently getting just a few yards.
Yeah, turnovers have really been their big problem today. Ball's at the 4. 2nd down. Waldron wants to throw. Wings it, man wide open.
There's a flag down.
Malcolm Robinson caught the ball and went into the end zone. Let's see what this flag is.
It's in an odd position for it. It's typically going to be a hold or a.
I'm thinking maybe offensive interference for Robinson
yeah,
being that wide open.
Yeah, when he's alone like that.
It looks like it may go against the Knights.
Offsides.
Yeah. So it's 19-17. Touchdown counts. And now here comes the big 2-point conversion to try to tie the game.
So a couple of very successful drives by William Paterson late in this game has got to get them feeling pretty confident in their offense.
Now remember,
the Knights' defense.
19-3, and they missed the extra point the Knights did. So this could easily be a 20-17 game, but instead it's a 2-point game. And so William Paterson's got the try here for 2 to try to tie the game.
There has not been a more important defensive play in this game to this point than this one right here, Jim. And that's why they are going to take a timeout and talk it over.
Even if the Pioneers don't score, still a lot of time left on the clock. It'd be up to the offense, if they've got a 2-point lead, to try to run some clock down. And if the 2-point conversion is good, it's going to be up to the offense to get that go-ahead score.
Yeah, you know, I mentioned earlier the Knights excited to be winning. They'd like to see stretch that out a little bit, feel better. I don't think there's anyone on this team who would like to play overtime right now. They just want to get the W in the books and go and enjoy the rest of homecoming. But while that seemed incredibly likely a while ago, very, very much in dispute right now. This play, as you said, to tie or hopefully not, still with 5 minutes left to play, a lot of possible outcomes, including overtime or an outright win.
Yeah, the Knights have missed 1 field goal and 2 conversions, I believe, today. And they're hoping that William Paterson is unsuccessful on this 2-point conversion. 2.5 yards away, Waldron and Daniels Lundy, the running back, have both shown the ability to run, so we'll see if they keep it on the ground here or throw. Waldron wants to throw to the right side, and it's knocked away by the Knights. Boy, for a split second there, it looked like they were going to be able to thread that ball over to Vivian, the receiver, but a Knight defender got in there and knocked it away to preserve a 2-point lead.
Well, it looked like it slipped in the quarterback's hand there just a little bit when he first brought it up. And so maybe that just half a second delay was enough to adjust over. Whew.
Okay, you got 5:27 left on the clock, and now it's up to the offense. You don't necessarily have to score, Art, but 2 or 3 or 4 first downs that might take off 3 or 4 minutes is certainly the number one priority.
Absolutely true. But with a 2-point lead, just a touchdown and an extra point with 5.5 minutes left all but ends this game.
No doubt.
It puts it into a 2-score, and
even a field goal would help, but right now the Knights are thinking about, hey, why don't we just have a 6-minute drive, even if it gets no points, just to run this clock out.
Yeah, they've got to do something. What they can't do is go 3 and out. or anything. They have to get something moving down the field, both for field position and time. But hey,
Paterson's got 2 timeouts left, and the Knights have 3.
you can throw a field position and timeout if you just get a touchdown as well. If you get one of those right off the bat, you'll take that as well.
Short kickoff fumbled by the Knights, and it looks like the Knights were able to cover the ball at the 38-yard line. Boy, that got the old heart up into the throat for a split second. But it looks like the Knights, several Knights, have been able to cover not only the ball, but the man with the ball.
Yeah, well, and lots of things can happen in piles when it comes to football. So if the guy,
Spencer Powell was able to get on top of that.
yeah, even if you're sure your guy's got the ball, just lay on top of. Don't let anybody else get access. I mean, there's poking, there's pinching, there's pulling the ball away. You want to do everything you can to make sure that the guy that has it stays with it.
Okay, the
Assuming he's on your
offense
team.
will come back onto the field, and number one priority again with a 2-point lead is obviously get a score, but try to run this 5:22 off the clock.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably keep the ball on the ground in order to do that. But we have seen a little bit more of a mix of run and pass than we have previously.
Jones wants to throw, fires. Got his receiver, Harris, at the 49-yard line. John Harris, diving grab. Knights have a first down at the 49-yard line.
Well, there we go. Whatever moves it down the field is fine. Those quick first downs, quick strikes.
You know, Coach DePay may be saying, yeah, we want to run the clock, but we would love to get the clinching score.
Well, and there's those mind games that coaches play as well, where of course they're going to think we're going to try to run the clock, which means now is the best time ever to throw the football.
So we'll see if they go back to the ground game here. Hanson is the back behind Ty Jones. Hanson right up the middle, maybe 2-yard pickup. He got from the 49, his own 49, looks like to the 49 of William Paterson. And the clock runs, and William Paterson again has those 2 timeouts still they can take.
Yeah, plenty of time to let that roll. No reason to be in a hurry.
Pioneers will probably save those timeouts for now, hoping to get the ball back for the offense.
Yeah, for now, certainly, you're right.
But if the Knights were able to pick up a couple more first downs, you would probably see the Pioneers take those timeouts.
Yeah, they'll have to if it gets to that point.
2nd down 8. And in motion. Handoff up
Big
the middle.
gain.
Good gain all the way down to the 40-yard line.
Just hang on to the football. Just hang on to the football.
2 hands. And the Knights get a big gain all the way down to the 40-yard line.
So the clock will stop until that's reset, till the markers are set, which they are now. Back going. The Knights can burn, they can comfortably burn 30, 35 seconds of play. So these first downs are huge.
And that play right there was a good indicator of how tough this offensive line is.
Absolutely. Just get that push off. Get a little bit of running room.
Knights taking as much time as possible. Hanson again. Nope, it's going to be the option play. And it's going to be about a 5 to 6 or 4 or 5 yard pickup by Solovey. He got it inside the 37, down close to the 36 and almost the 35-yard line for a gain of nearly 5. And an injured Pioneer on the field.
That really accentuates something else we've talked to Coach DePay about. He said we start out by getting receivers to understand that when you block a guy, you can't let him push you back. You have to get better at that to the point where, then you're blocking him and he's not going anywhere, and eventually to the point where you block him and you push him back. That was kind of that middle of the road right there where the receiver on the right side was blocking. He wasn't pushing him out of the way to make a bigger hole. Had he done that, would have been an even bigger gain for the Knights, but it was sufficient enough that there was enough of a gap to get 4 yards.
Well, the good news there for William Paterson, the injured player able to come off the field. The good news for the Knights, the referee started the clock back up.
Having a little conversation, I'm guessing, about the clock again.
It was running.
Three minutes and 17 seconds is what we're resetting to. It's always difficult to know exactly what's going on with the clock in different situations, especially with a player injury and that sort of thing. They're getting down to a 3-point stance, but there's 35 seconds on the play clock. I do not think they're going to want to run this for the next little while. Guys, take it easy.
Yeah, no hurry right now. Clock's maybe the biggest opponent that William Paterson has.
Yeah, you can tell they're perfectly fine. They can get this all the way close to 2:40.
Last couple of times they've given it to Hansen up the middle. We'll see if they do so now.
10 seconds now on the play clock. Now you don't want to get it too close.
And Jones pulls it down, and he takes it close to the 30-yard line.
What a sharp cut as he got up to the line of scrimmage there after faking that handoff. He just really turns, talk about north and south. What a great job cutting that upfield.
He got it down to the 31. So Jones got down to the 31-yard line. And William Paterson will take its second timeout, leaving them one left.
Yeah, I think they're seeing the momentum coming down, realizing at this point if the Knights do get another first down, this game is essentially over. They can run it out time-wise, and so they know they're going to have to come up with something big here.
Well, again, it's a 4-down territory. Unless you have a big loss on third down, you've got 2 cracks to get 1 yard, but I know the coach DePay wants to get it right here on third down. Now the only question is, okay, is it going to be Ty Jones or maybe Hansen straight up the middle?
Yeah, Coach DePay has also talked about no negative plays because you have 2 chances to get 1 yard, assuming you don't lose any on the first.
And if you can pick up this first down, Art, even with that one timeout being taken, even if you don't score and you turn the ball over on downs, William Paterson, maybe a minute left on the clock?
Oh, not even. I mean, there's so much time you can run through here. At 30 seconds, the play clock's at 40, but you get 30 seconds of play
comfortably. Maybe leave them with 30 or 45 seconds left. And they'll have to go a heck of a distance even to get in field goal range, because a field goal would win the game for William Paterson. But the Knights right now are thinking about this third down play.
Yeah, and they've not had much in the way of a quick strike offense themselves. We are down to 15 seconds on the play clock.
See if Jones takes it or gives it to Hansen maybe. Needing a yard. They pitch the ball, and there is a flag.
Oh, no. A false start would make it 3rd and 6.
It is a legal procedure, and it turns it into a 3rd and 6. That is huge.
The difference between 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 6 is a lot more than 5 yards.
And they were going to run wide on a 3rd and 1.
Ooh. That hurts.
Still could be 2-down territory, but now you got to pick up 6 yards in 2 downs as opposed to just 1.
Yeah, that's why I said situationally, there's a much bigger difference than 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 6 than you might think.
Knights are trying to get a homecoming win and their first conference win of the season, and just their second New Jersey Athletic Conference victory ever.
They're taking their time now, even though the clock is not running after the penalty.
Which also hurts. So here we go. 3rd and 6. It is Jones. Great fake. 30, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. And maybe a late hit out of bounds, too.
Yeah, there is a penalty flag coming in after that. That's just frustration.
Ty Jones going 36 yards for the clinching score if the Knights can add the conversion. It's still a one-score game until you add the conversion.
3rd and 1 becomes 3rd and 6 becomes end
36.
zone. Whew. Wow.
And now an all-important conversion here, Art. They need to make this extra point to put this game out of reach.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. They've really struggled with these connections now. This has got to get in the end zone, or excuse me, through the uprights. Well, I guess either way, whether they go for 1 or 2.
Well, as you've mentioned, Art, too, it's not just the kicker, it's the holder and the snapper. A lot of things go into these extra points.
Yeah, so that is the late hit that'll be enforced on the kickoff, which is an important thing. 2.5 minutes is a long time, even with 1 timeout.
Knights trying to get this extra point, which could salt this game away, barring a miracle for William Paterson.
Gets it down.
Kick on the way. It is good. And the Knights have a 9-point lead.
9 is a critical number. And we have more whistles. Yeah, I have to change the batteries in that ump's mic by the time the game's over.
See what this is all about. Frustration against William Paterson. Dead ball foul against them. So 2 penalties assessed on the kickoff.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be a touchback when you tack both of those penalties on. I don't think I've ever seen this situation because the Knights will be kicking off from the other side of the 50.
Well, that's why I was thinking, probably not going to happen. But, hey, onside
kick.
What do you got to lose, especially if it's a 2-score game now?
Well, yeah, in this case, I mean, you get a touchback on a squib kick. I don't know where these guys are going. They're way too far up. These 2 penalties.
They'll fight.
There it is.
You can see the side judge going to say, come on back here, guys.
The side judge is like, no. That's 30 yards worth of penalties, brah. Come on back.
Boy, what a great series that was for the Knights. Ty Jones, 36-yard run to seemingly clinch this victory along with the conversion.
What a unique situation. I have never seen, because the only way this can happen is if you get a penalty on the touchdown and a penalty on the extra point.
From the 35. If it's a touchback, it's the 20. So if you're not going to do an onside kick, some little squib kick,
Well, you may get a touchback on a squib kick in this situation.
Yeah. So maybe the onside kick's the way to go.
Well, onside kicks are very dangerous, though. That adds an element of chaos to this that I don't know that you want to do. If you're Southern Virginia, certainly something on the ground makes a lot of sense, but you just want to down them wherever they can get. I mean, it might be safer to just say, you know what, just kill it, no chance of a return.
Yeah, we'll see what that's what they're going to do. All right, put it into the woods.
There you go. No reason to add any place of comeback. That's why, people say when you see them come out in the traditional victory formation, they just come out and take a knee. Well, sometimes it's, we don't want to run up the score on these guys, and sometimes it's anything can happen.
Yep, Coach DePay is probably thinking just that. He's thinking, hey, if we kick it out, there's no run back.
Yep. Yeah, nothing.
Make them go, obviously, the distance, 75 yards for a score. And remember, they have to get 2 scores.
Yeah, nothing surprising. Add no element of chaos to this. Just keep it simple. Put out the defense that's done well by you so far.
And maybe try to get that 7th turnover. That would basically clinch things here. Yeah, a lot of stars today, Art. On the offense, Ty Jones' 36-yard run was huge, but the defense, with all the turnovers that they've been able to produce, a lot of defensive stars today.
Yeah, absolutely the case. The team as a whole stepping up just all over the place. We talked about the importance of turnovers, and my goodness, I don't know how to describe it. There's so many turnovers in this game from William Paterson. I guess they don't like the football. I mean, that's really what it's looked like so far, and just given a lot of opportunities. Credit Southern Virginia with takeaways, but also, William Paterson just not taking care of it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of both.
Got to take your hat off to William Paterson, too. They were down 19-3 and came within a 2-point conversion of tying this game in 19.
Oh, yeah.
So they made a great comeback, and it's not over yet, but the Knights have a 9-point lead.
Yeah, they have not given up, and I don't expect them to on this drive either.
Waldron to throw. He is pressured. And he's going to have to run with it for the sidelines, and he gets out of bounds.
Smart play there as well. You make sure he runs out of bounds. Joel Bergman giving him no opportunity to gain additional yards. But after that, you don't put a hand on him. You don't give any opportunity for penalties. That's one situation that could really kill the Knights is penalties here. Don't get too excited. Don't do anything silly.
He picked up 6. 2nd down, 4 to go. 31-yard line.
And the clock's running. Looking to pass.
Completion made. Out of bounds again.
And there's
41-yard line.
You could tell he was, and the little
Barrios right there. Didn't see anything that would warrant a flag there, but it's a first down now for
it was
the
close.
Pioneers. Yeah.
It was close. He took him down. You can tell there's William Paterson's looking for it. They'll take anything that'll help in this situation. But boy, it looked like he may have just tripped and caught him on the way down. But either way, first down, but no penalty.
41-yard line. Waldron
Got
be
him.
pressured, and Mola got him again. Simi coming in and knocking down the quarterback yet again today.
Yeah, teaming up with who else? Skylar Cloward. And boy,
that might have been the coffin, the nail in the coffin right there. As now, boy, William Paterson's really behind the 8 ball, trailing by 2 scores and just having to deal with a quarterback sack like that.
Well, I'm talking about, these guys not giving up. William Paterson taking a timeout, realizing at this point with having to get 2 scores, you got to get something quick here. And that's just going to burn a lot of time when you get sacked like that to get up, get your wits about you, and get back in there saying, now's as good a time as any. So let's get that squared away.
Outside of a fly pattern, about the only thing that comes to mind that could be that would really result in maybe some mayhem is some sort of hook and ladder.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's got to get downfield quickly because you've got to, well, even then, it's mathematic at this point. You have no timeouts. Southern Virginia, even if you get a touchdown right now that takes 5 seconds, the Knights can just take 3 knees in a row.
Well, you obviously have an onside kick coming too, so William Paterson's got to have a lot of things go right in the next 90 seconds to turn this guy around.
Well, and it's going to have to turn around momentum-wise quickly because the last play was certainly not something going right for him with a 14-yard loss on a massive sack.
Well, the Knights can either come after the quarterback or sit back and, with pass coverage, they come after the quarterback again. And somehow Waldron got out of there, and he gets all the way to the 46-yard line. I don't know how he was able to escape that pocket.
Yeah, just kind of squirted out there, had some room off a hugely collapsing pocket. Great job by him to keep his head, but even with that big gain, it's still 3rd and 5, and the clock continues to roll.
Have to get to the 50 to get the first down, and it's dropped by Robinson. Now it's 4th down.
Well, we've debated several times today. Is this 4th down, or is this 4th down territory, or is it not? This absolutely has to be.
No doubt.
4th and 5. At least it did stop the clock, the incomplete pass. But yeah, assuming the ball game isn't already over, which we're certainly close to. This could very well be it. If it's not done now, this is it.
You stop them here, and the Knights are celebrating. Waldron to throw. Slant pattern. Incomplete. Hit the ground.
Yep.
And the Knights are going to win this ball game.
And not very happy about that. You can tell from the William Paterson side, they know that that's the ball game.
DeMarcico is arguing with the ref, but it looked to me plain that ball hit the ground.
Yeah, it was not controlled for sure. And ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing the first Southern Virginia win in the NJAC this season, their first win over William Paterson, period, and their second win of the season here at homecoming.
And their second conference win in school history. And hopefully a way to build for more wins down the stretch here as DeMarcico is
having to be
yelling at a lot of the referees.
Field.
They got Kane next week on the road and then College of New Jersey in 2 weeks. I got to believe Coach DePay would like to, not only win this game today, Art, but maybe 2 or 3 more before it's all said and done.
Oh, he mentioned in that film that we watched in pregame that people are talking about, here's that victory formation. He said people are talking about us ending 500. I don't know how much he's thinking about that. I mean, when we talked to him last week, it was, what do you think of what do you think of William Paterson next week? And he goes, is that who we play next week? I don't know. Right now it's who's the next opponent, and the next opponent is him. So he's not even looking ahead too much. I can just about guarantee you that.
So the clock is running here.
So the clock will run. One more snap. We'll do it any time from now.
And this will be the final play of the game.
And that's
Ty
it.
Jones, one of the heroes today with that 36-yard touchdown run that really put this score and game away with that final score. And the Knights are going to wrap up a homecoming victory today, 26-17 over William Paterson. As Art mentioned, the first ever win over William Paterson. Their first conference win of this 2016 season, the second conference victory in school history. The Knights are going to go to 1-5 in the conference, 2-5 overall, and William Paterson will drop to 1-5 in the conference and 2-5 on the season.
A lot of respect being shown by both teams going out there. You love to see the handshakes after the game. You like to see Coach Dupay, who obviously will go congratulate the other team or thank the other team, talk to them, the coach as well, but also going and thanking the refs for coming out today. They often can be seen as the enemies, so you like to see some sportsmanship there as well.
And when you look at the keys today, Art, number one key's got to be the turnovers that William Paterson had, the turnovers that the Knights were able to force. And the Knights, had some big plays, too, defensively, in addition to the turnovers. And Ty Jones' 36-yard touchdown run, which salted the game away. A lot of things went right today for the Knights. Probably they want to work on the conversions. They left a few points off the board, but they made the big plays when they had to.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. You take what the other team gives you. That's something Coach Dupay has told us as well. And what they were given today is 6 turnovers, and they certainly worked themselves to get them. There was nothing free in this game, but to have that many turnovers and only win by 9 points, they're either going to have to continue to do that in future weeks and just really continue to force turnovers and take those advantages, or keep getting better. And I'm sure Coach Dupay would tell you he wants to do both. He's got to get better every week to stay up to the caliber of competition in this very, very difficult conference.
And the way the Knights have been playing here of late, it's hard to imagine any opposition taking them lightly right now, the way they really almost battled Rowan to an upset victory and then came away with the win today over William Paterson. That's the upside, or the upside of playing good is obviously the good feeling about winning like today. But the downside is that you're not going to sneak up on anybody. I don't think the Knights are going to be sneaking up on anybody down the stretch here.
No, they've gotten better and better every week. They've had some very close, games where they could have come away with a win. Today they actually do come away with a win, leading the crowd in the school song right now. A lot of excitement going on there. If anything, heck, I might be most concerned if I'm Christopher Newport, because while they're a really good team, if this Knight squad continues to get better every single week and you're the last one on their schedule,
especially if the Knights have nothing to lose, and CNU maybe at that point on November the 12th, if they need that game to get either outright or a share of the conference championship.
Yeah,
wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. The Knights would love to play spoiler in that situation. But as we've said before, it's all about what they do. It's not about the other team. It's not about the larger situation. It's about what's necessary right now, this down, this play, this quarter, this half, this game. And that when you worry about the plays, then the games take care of themselves. When you worry about the games, the season takes care of itself.
And Art, when you look down the heroes today, again, Ty Jones offensively, that last touchdown was huge, that 36-yard touchdown run. The Knights' offensive line performing fantastic today, opening up holes for Jones and the running backs, and then the defense getting all those turnovers, and just, again, special teams as well. The Knights really doing it in all 3 areas.
Yeah, well, and you talk about buying in and getting your team to buy into this system, and because this is a wildly different offense and defense than has been done previously. This is how you do it. You show progress. You don't have to win the first game. You can just get better every single time. And that's exactly what they've done, to the point now where you're starting to hit pay dirt even more and more, and it will eventually translate into wins. And it's great to see that you don't have to wait a season or 2 or 3 to get to there. It's happening now.
Yeah, you see a lot of the guys who are the heroes today. See number 21, Garcia, number 19, Christopher, and earlier before he kneeled down, Moala, number 30, who had some big quarterback sacks today too.
Yeah, and credit the offensive line as a whole, as a unit, for their work. Credit the defensive line for their work. Lots of names. We can't name everybody, but that's the way this team works. Is there's just so many people all working together. There's, as Craig Lund said, there's nobody out here that's going to the NFL, or at least it's incredibly unlikely. But boy, there are a lot of guys who are willing to contribute, who work hard together, and that's tough to beat.
And now the Knights will try to build upon this homecoming victory, Art, on the road next Saturday, taking on Kane. Kane came into the afternoon with a record of 3-3 on the season overall, so they're got a chance to maybe get a big road win next Saturday at Kane.
Yeah, certainly a test for them there, and then they round out with TCNJ, College of New Jersey, who is another. I would say a game to circle on your calendar here in 2 weeks. A very winnable game for the Knights. There's still some fertile ground for them in the NJAC for the rest of the season.
And that's a big game at the very end against Christopher Newport.
Yeah, who's currently leading the conference, tied up several ways, or at least they were before the game today, based on how other games around the conference are turning out. But that'll be a good, I think, a good heat check for them by that point to see how they stack up against a really difficult team.
So again, a big victory today on homecoming for the Southern Virginia University Knights. They knock off William Paterson 26-17 to get their first conference victory of the season. And a big homecoming win, 26-17 for Southern Virginia over William Paterson. That's going to wrap things up here from the fields at Southern Virginia University. I'm Jim Bresnahan for Art, Josh, and all of our production staff here at Southern Virginia University. Congratulations again to the Knights for a big homecoming victory, and thanks for joining us today for Knights football.